The lights are off and away they go.
Extremely loose. He's managed to hold on.
He missed the complete. That is crazy stuff.
Homestead Freitas is on the grass on the infield for 4. He slides through. He tags Richard Eck.
It's been a groundbreaking season for the Pac Majors, and with clubs outside of the Northwest being invited in for the first time, influx of talent has kept the racing exciting and the championship close. After an entire year of globetrotting to the most important locations in racing, it all settles into the finale at Homestead Miami Speedway. With an astonishing 7 drivers up for the overall title, there's little doubt about the excitement we are about to witness. You're watching the final round of the 2015 Pacific Majors live on the Global Sim Racing channel. Hello and welcome to the Ford 400 here at Homestead. I'm Joe Peak, and with me in the booth tonight are Bill Soup Zahn and Brian Yazik. Behind the scenes is our director Kevin Brown, and he's using cameras provided by Dougie Beard. Brian, this track has been home to the title decider for NASCAR for many years already, but here in the Pac Majors, it's been given the honors for the first time ever. Tell us a little bit about what the drivers will be facing.
Absolutely. Homestead is a very unique track. 1.5 mile oval with progressive banking in the corners. Starts at the very bottom at 18 degrees, and up there by the wall is banked at 20 degrees. We got a 400-mile race, which equals out to 267 laps.
And we apologize for the late start. We've already got the cars gridding up, so let's go to the grid. On the pole, we are going to have Mark Walls. Then on the outside of the front row, it'll be Sam Boren. Taft Baldwin will be starting in third, followed by Drew Lalonde in fourth, Lionel Kalisto in fifth, and rounding out row 3, Bill, will be Chris Beck.
Chad Barker's going to start from the inside of the fourth row. Points leader David Williams going to start outside of row 4. Behind him, Rob Gall and Chris the Thinker Pence in the 9th and 10th position. In the 11th spot, Brian Barnes and Michael Lane's going to round out row 6. Brian?
P13 goes to Gary Nichols, who's followed by Michael Smith in 14th. 5th goes to Gary Levalette. 16th goes to Scott Gruber. 17th, Nick Hunt, who's followed up in 18th by Bob Bellatremi.
Then it's Michael Dow starting in 19th. 20th is Joe Nathan, and 21st is Stephen Paulison. Trent R. Drismid will be starting in 22nd. Dersmid, excuse me. Trent Dersmid in 22nd. Wayne Hutchison will be starting 23rd, and Ryan Toma in 24th. Bill?
Jason Pitts and Brian Bennett are going to be in the 25th and 26th position. Pat Gelder sits behind them with Alan Haseback way back in 28th. He's got a long way to go. Carl Burke in 29th, and rounding out the field is Kyle G. Murphy.
Also, we want to give a special thank you to Ryan Fournier, who is personally sponsoring the race itself here. Ray Fournier, excuse me. And his car sponsor is the Whidbey SeaTac Shuttle. So wanted to give him a special shout out before we go green, which we are about to get now. Pace car is already coming through turn 4, and we're getting ready to do 400 miles around here. Pace car is in. Beltrami leads the way, or excuse me, Mark Walls leads the way. Warren not too far off of him as they head into turn 1. Baldwin holding up third, Lionel Kalisto, all of them getting into line early on. And with a 400-mile race on their hands, we're seeing a lot of guys just easing into position here in the early stages.
Very, very polite driving there, trying to get those tires warmed up. Drew Lamont fits into 6th position there.
So up top, Mark Walls got himself a great jump in that Walls Beard Co. number 18. Warren's just about half a second behind him. And actually, it's starting to close up. In fact, our top 5 or 6 all getting just about evenly spaced out to about 3/10 away from each other.
Brian, one of the things we didn't really talk much about before the race is the weather. Pretty cloudy here in Florida.
Yeah, cloudy helps out the track grip level. When the track sits there and bakes in the sun all day, it gets hot, it gets greasy, it gets slick. But when you get cloud cover, it helps the grip levels, especially when these guys are coming out of turn 4. It's very notorious for being very, very slippery outside of that corner, and you're really trying to take all the time that you can to save that right rear tire, because you spend so much time trying to driving off it, basically.
Now we're watching everybody just kind of get into a space. Not a lot of whole side-by-side racing out, although we see Callisto trying to make a pass on Barker. That's for 4th position, looking to the outside, the number 84, and we've got a caution.
Oh, we've got a caution back at the start-finish line.
Looks like Kyle Murphy is one of the cars involved in that.
Michael Dow as well is in trouble.
Looks like Michael Lane was the first one to cause the trouble there.
Matt Gelder is sitting on the front stretch backwards, but now he's been towed to the pits.
Well, we're watching Murphy, and there you can see the 62 of Michael Lane was the first one. He got spun around coming off of turn 4, just got a little loose, and unfortunately his car came to a halt right in the middle of the racing line on the front stretch, and everybody was trying to take evasive action. There you can see it happening. Now, these cars do have a free repair. There's no incident limit either. So these guys who are getting into trouble early on should be able to get back out there, although that's not the way that they want to spend this race. And already, we're seeing pretty much everybody electing to come in. We're only 6 laps into this thing, Brian.
Absolutely. Tire wear here at Homestead is an absolute premium. This track just chews up these Goodyears. I guarantee you, unless that they've run maybe 2 corners on a set of tires, they're going to be on pit road every single time. Now, with this short of a run, with four really solid green flag laps, you might see a couple 2 tires, but if the race runs green, I guarantee that you'll watch those 2 tire drivers fall back to the pack.
Well, we've got a little bit of a chance while we watch everybody take their pit service. So, Bill, I believe you've got the Governor's Cup rundown for us?
Yeah, we can take a little minute here. This is the final race of the season, so it's pretty much decided. If we look at the Governor's Cup, now we don't have graphics for this, so I'm going to paint you a verbal picture of what's going on. Now, it's really not that complicated, unless Mount Rainier erupts during this race. I think the Northwest Club is going to be hoisting the cup there. Now, Texas kept the Big Footers honest in finishing in the runner-up position, about 300 laps back. 300 points back. Sorry about that. I don't know how many laps they were behind. Now, California will claim the show position, and West Coast will finish out of the money. But there's a little more to this championship than meets the eye, and we're going to look at that a little more closely during the next yellow when we talk about the Drivers' Championship and how Northwest really dominated, not so much at the top, not so much at the cream, but they really had the depth to get this thing done, Joe.
Now, after those pit stops, Mark Walsh was the first to get across the stripe. Sam Bourne followed him in second, Taft Baldwin in third, then Lionel Callisto in fourth, and Barker came out in fifth. I guess he went down a position either in the pit stops or during that pass that we saw right before the caution came out. So those are your top 5, and the drivers that we're going to want to be watching out for, since we said there's 7 of them that are in the championship hunt. That is David Williams, who is currently in the lead in points, Lionel Callisto, Chris Pence, Rob Gall, and Alan Hasebeck, Michael Smith, and Brian Barnes, all within a mathematical chance of taking the Drivers' Championship. We'll go, as Bill said, we'll go over that more in depth a little later on, but those are your names to keep your eyes out on down on the bottom of your screen in the ticker.
Something else to keep an eye on. I mentioned it really briefly there before the pit stops. Michael Smith took 2 tires, according to my timing and scoring. Also, Nick Hunt took 2 tires as well.
A couple guys, a little bit of a gamble early on. Smitty's one of those drivers that definitely knows how to wheel around these ovals in this series. He's taken 2 wins, one of very few drivers. I think it's still down. Only 2 drivers have taken more than one win in the entire season.
Smitty has 2, and then David Williams has 2, and I believe both of those were in the Williams Formula One machine, I think. What's interesting is David Williams is our point leader that Joe talked about, but he has really dominated on the road course, and even more so in the open wheel section of the road courses. Not nearly as dominating here on these friendly ovals where you turn left 4 times.
And he's currently sitting in 20th, but he has to be higher than that to make sure that he can't be touched in the championship. He needs 13th position or better to solidify himself, in the points. If he finishes above that, nobody can do anything. But right now, he is vulnerable.
For more than one reason. Being that far back, you're hurting yourself in the points, but when you're that far back in this pack, these guys are going to eventually start getting wild. And when you're mid-pack, like David is there in 21st, you're running out of options on where to go if something happens in front of you as we come back to this restart.
He's probably thanking his lucky stars he was not caught up in that first one. This car is peeled off. Mark Walls has the control once again. Accelerates under green, gets a nice jump over second place Sam Warren, but in third already Little Train Kalisto looking to go around the outside. And it looks like he's going to get it done, Bill.
Yeah, that's Taft Baldwin in the blue 05 car there. And Kalisto now can give a little bump, see if he can find room. I think he has vision for second place.
He had a great run on Sam Boren there in second place.
Terry LaViolette is into the wall. Car number 89 or 68, depending on which way you look at it. I believe it's 68.
He's actually staying off the course. It is car number 68 to keep from bringing out the caution. And I think he should be good there. Yes, he also is many laps down already, if you're noticing on the ticker at the bottom. That is because he had a connection issue right at the start of the race, so he has been sent way to the back, unfortunately, for Violet in the Sargent's place. And we've got an accident coming through 4.
Looked like a single car spin right there coming through.
Was that Baldwin again?
That was Taft Baldwin.
Ooh, up from very high in the field. Let's see if we can look at the replay. You said it was a single accident? Yeah, once again.
He was coming through turn 4 there, and I think he was just trying to get up alongside Lionel, I believe he was racing with him, Chad. And he went to gas up the car, and just it spun out on him. Turn 4 is absolutely notorious for that. If you don't wait on the throttle just right, it's going to snap around on you and not even hesitate.
And what's interesting is Chad Barker almost spun as well in that. We had a few guys that were up in the championship. Michael Smitty Smith barely avoided that around the outside of the number 27. Yeah, that was almost a complete carbon copy of what we saw in the first accident. A car just all on its own starting to lose that rear end. Here we see Chad Barker still sitting in 4th. Managed to hold on to it. We're going to watch on board from Chris Beck on the replay what he saw. Certainly got an eyeful. Yeah, car starts to just around and he manages to get out of the way in just the right amount of time. All right, I think we got a little bit of time, so let's give you a little bit more detailed picture of this Drivers' Championship, which has given us great showdown here at the end.
Yeah, we talked about David Williams. In the Williams machines has, I guess, serendipitously been a good fit there with both of the Marines' wins coming in that vehicle and helping him to a 12-point lead. Now, he has 12-point lead over Rob Gall in second. And Alan Hasebeck is only a point behind Gall, and Brian Barnes is only a point behind Hasebeck, and Little Train Kalisto is only a point behind Barnes. And in the season finale wraps up here on an oval where Williams, is considerably less impressive. So also, we talked about this earlier, Michael Smith and Chris the Thinker Pence also have a mathematical chance of getting this, but There may be too many drivers to overtake. They're well back there in 6th and 7th. We'll do the best to announce the driver championship here before we go off the air, but because of the intricacies of the scoring system, that may be a tall order. But before we leave this category, if we have time, let me know if the lights go off there, guys, and I'll get out of here. Let's take a quick look at how these standings relate to the Governor's Cup that we talked about earlier. Texas, California, and the West have 3 drivers each in the top 10, and the last place West Club actually owns the top 2 positions in the overall standing, the driver standings. Now, Northwest only has 1 driver in the top 10. So why is the Northwest Club going to be drinking Henry Weinhardts from the Governor's Cup? Because Texas, California, and the West have 0, zilch, nada, zilch, nothing. No drivers in the bottom half of the top 20. Yep, Northwest owns spots 11 through 20. That's pretty impressive, Joe.
That is a lot of drivers. And, you know, the thing that we should point out is that there's also a lot of drivers who maybe are a little bit more specialists in certain cars. Those not familiar with the Pacific Majors, speaking of which, hello to all of our viewers on iRacing Live. Had to rush through the intro, didn't get to remember to say hello to all of you out there. This series drives all different kinds of cars at all different types of tracks. So sometimes I have guys who come in maybe for 3 races, for 2 races, and not the whole season, and come and get a win. And they might be contributing to that high points haul from the Northwest Club.
And they even have the Predator races, which are really fun. If you haven't had a chance to see one of those, hopefully they'll be back for next season. It's where they start, it's class racing, but they give the slower class a head start. And if it all works out well, they all meet together for the checkered flag. It's really exciting.
Well, if you have any questions for us and you're watching on YouTube, make sure and leave them in the chat. We try and follow that and keep our viewers up to date as far as anything that they are unsure about. So ask us questions, interact. We love hearing your thoughts up here in the booth. Pace car lights are in fact off. We are now coming into turn 4, and we're going to go green racing one more time as we hop on board with 3rd place Lionel Kalisto.
Kalisto on the inside of row 2.
Pace car is off. Green flag is out once more. Mark Walls gets to the gas and gets a nice jump. Last time Kalisto tried to move himself up into 3rd, did so successfully. Couldn't quite use the momentum into 2nd. This time he does and is well past Sam Boren. Kalisto is on a charge.
We've seen Kalisto do some amazing things earlier in the season.
Behind them, quite a bit of a pack of Chad Barker, Chris Beck, Smitty, Rob Gall, and Chris Pence, and it still continues on behind him as the drivers are trying to sort themselves out. It looks like Barker is able to hold off Chris Beck, who's looking down into the inside, but the progressive banking isn't able to help him out in this case.
And Brian, I've been watching David Williams. He's struggling back there. He's not making up any ground at all in that 37 car.
No, it's either he's waiting, he's kind of riding and waiting, or that's about as good as the car is going to get. I mean, from a single run practice, he wasn't that fast either. He's running right about where he practiced. So, but hey, it's a long race. They still have 240 some odd laps left. So, I'm not counting him out just yet as we go on board with the leader.
And interestingly, Lionel Kalisto had closed on the back, the number 18, didn't try and make a pass attempt. And as we jump off, actually, Sam Boren is looking to the inside of Lionel. Now down heading into turn 1. He's got the inside, but can he make it stick?
Whoa.
Oh, and Kalisto spins!
Yep. Gatherson up.
He saved it!
Wow! How in the world did he hold on to that car? I thought for sure he was gone. We're going to look at the replay. Car was incredibly sideways. I think he has not had enough of his V8 because he was leaning on it like something fierce.
That'd be Fast and the Furious Homestead drift right there.
Oh, and we got another car off just ahead of Kalisto right now. Bob Beltrami down into the grass, keeps it off the racing line. We stay green, but he's losing a lot of positions. We're going to look at the replay of what happened to Beltrami. I think it's, once again, just exactly like we saw before. Car all by itself starts to get loose. And actually, thankfully, able to not get into Scott Gruber, who had a very close moment with the Triscuit machine. We're going to look at it one more time. All right. So we come back live on Boren. Currently, he's sitting in P2 still, not letting Mark Walls get away from him.
Kind of keeping my eyes on Barker there in third in the pole position. Last couple laps, quicker than our leader.
Well,
Finally getting. I was going to say, we're finally getting ourselves a green flag run, knock on wood. We've had a few close calls with drivers almost spinning off into the infield.
Just to update you on Callisto, he filed into 17th position, then picked up one with the spin. He's currently running in 16th.
Callisto is the best position to try and overtake Williams, so he is really want to get back up there. He was looking very good to possibly overtake him in the points, even though there's a lot of racing left. But we know he's got the pace. The question is, can he keep those mistakes out?
Now that we've got 18 laps, 19 laps on this run, something I want to keep an eye on is the tire fall off here is massive. You'll watch guys, I mean, right now, these guys are already 6/10 off of their best laps when I look at the leaders. The tire fall off being so big.
And I'm sorry, but we've got a bid for the lead. Sam Boren has the inside of Mark Walls. Not sure if he's going to be able to pull it off, though. Walls might have the momentum up high. Still side by side, and Barker goes way off, mowing the grass, manages to keep it pointed in the right direction, but is moving well down the order, down into 9th. Is he going to move to 10th? Looks like he's stopped the bleeding there. We're back up to the lead where the battle is still on, and Sam Boren finally makes it work through 3 and 4.
Well, that was an interesting half of a lap right there. Waltz doesn't appear that he's going to be done with it just yet. Trying to make a dive back on the inside coming out of 2. And then heading back down the backstretch here. Got to see how he sets this up for 3. But as I was kind of saying beforehand, there's a huge gain in short inning. Because like I said, they're already falling off 6, 7, 8 tenths a second a lap. So if you split the run, because you can go about 55 laps on fuel, so if you split that run at 30, 35, you might be able to drag a whole bunch of cars down with you. But if you don't, and they just run out, you're going to get a huge advantage from being on fresher tires for longer than all of your competitors. Is Boren looking to make a run on the inside going down into turn 3. That's a very close spot to try to make that happen. It's going to hit the loud pedal. Well, you got Waltz coming back on the outside. They're going to be fender to fender coming to the start finish line.
Walls is on the inside. That Beard Co. Toyota is trying to get the lead back. I thought maybe that he didn't have the long run pace with the way that Boren just gobbled him up. But for the lead, they've now been side by side for almost 4 whole corners.
This is why drivers love Homestead Miami Speedway. You can do this lap after lap after lap.
Is that progressive banking, isn't it, Brian?
Absolutely it is. You get more banking the higher up you go. I thought he was going to try to cut off the nose right there.
And Boren up on the high side manages to carry the momentum, but once more they go into 1 and 2. This time Boren starts to drop back and decides it's not worth fighting this hard early on. He's got a little bit of momentum coming off the corner. Lex not to stick his nose in. A little bit farther into 17th, we see Jason Pitts in 15th in the middle of just a bee's nest of cars.
And as we're looking at Pitts, just to follow up on Brian's points about the tires, that's a credit to iRacing for being as realistic as they can, because in the actual real-world NASCAR race today, that was exactly how it played out for them as well.
And in front of this pack, well, excuse me, we've jumped up to 8th place. I was going to say Lionel Kalisto has worked his way up to 13th, but now we're on Drew Lalonde in 8th. Number 3 machine spying Joe Nathan just ahead of him, trying to see what he can do. They've got a couple cars in different amounts of momentum coming through the corner that they're coming up on. That's Brian Barnes and Rob Gall that they're chasing down. Barnes to the inside of Gall, seeing if he can try and grab that 4th position. And I think he's got it.
And what you said you saw Brian do there, that's kind of how you want to pass people coming through 3 and 4. You want to get the advantage, drift up right in front of them, and kind of take the line away. As I'm watching Joe Nathan dive from the bottom there, he's been on an absolute tear. Started this race in the 20th position, and now he's knocking on the door to the top 5.
And guys, I got a driver to watch, and it's Taft Baldwin is up to 12th position. He was up there and had that issue. He's pulling away from Kalisto. He's really flying through the field.
Consistently one of the fastest on the track, to back up your point there, Bill.
Well, we are now currently 33 laps into this 267 lap race. Everybody's starting to settle in. We've got this long green flag run. Now, I know that you said a little bit before the race to me off of air, Brian, that these guys can make about 55 laps, if I'm remembering correctly.
You are correct.
But it sounds like that is not what they are going to be limited on. It sounds like it'll be a tire limited race. So the big question is, who is going to cry enough and be the first to pull the trigger to come in and take stops if this continues in green?
Well, really what's working out for these drivers' advantages is the cloudy condition. It seems like it's kind of slowed down the tire wear. Kind of to back up on point, these guys are running right about a second off of their pace 30 laps into the run. So they might stretch it out to the full distance of fuel, but I guarantee, just like what we saw in the Sprint Cup Series today, as soon as you see someone that you're racing dive to pit road, you're either trying to follow them or you're going to be on pit road the very next lap. And it's not as simple as just diving onto pit road coming out of turn 4. That access road that you see at the bottom of the track, you have to use that entering and exiting pit road.
This battle for 8th position, if we get a chance to look at it, is Rob Gall. It's really just they're going at it left and right.
I think Gall got a little bit of the wall coming through 1 and 2, and that is going to allow Taft Baldwin to get past him. Smitty's starting to pull away, and just ahead of Smitty, we've got Gary Nichols and the number 8 machine.
Yeah, I just had a bad feeling about that. They were really fighting hard.
We've been watching it on screen for a little bit now, and it looks like Gall is going to try and come back and
He's
take it again.
It's kind of a nice right there, trying to pinch the guy behind another car that you're passing. It's a strategy. It's a bold one. But now the 27 goes down to pass the 8th. I think we're going to jump up to the top 5 here.
And Joe Nathan has already got himself into the podium position, managing to get by Chris Beck, who's under threat from Brian Barnes, who dives down to the inside and won.
You were right, Bill. Joe is a... I think I was talking about this. I was going to give you credit for something I said, Bill. Joe, I've raced against Joe a couple times this week in some of the public races, and he has been fast every single place every single time that I've raced against him. Always fast from the start of the run through the end of the run. Really seems to have a nice balance of saving tires and being aggressive and getting his way up through the front.
Now we've jumped back to that battle for 8th once more. I would like to let the audience know that Mark Wallace has started to check out almost 2 seconds over Sam Bourne, despite him challenging very hard earlier on in the run. So Bourne is dropping off. Meanwhile, Carl Burke is unhappy about something. Not sure. Let's see if we can see what was happening with Carl Burke. He's currently ahead of Kyle Murphy. He's well down the field, though, in about 23rd.
Kyle drove it in there and came up on Carl. So I think that's what Kyle was getting over the radio at him about, but Kyle did apologize.
And there goes Taft Baldwin now, has got around Chris Pence. Taft Baldwin's up to 7th.
Question is, can he finally get away from these guys behind him? Just been going at it. Pence, Smitty, and Gary Nichols, and now they've got Trent Dursmid in there with him.
Yeah, I think Taft's going to leave those behind. I think he's going to run down. Next for him is Chris Beck in 5th and Drew Lalonde in 6th.
These guys are very much spacing out. Got little packs and groups of cars that are battling amongst each other, but in general, it looks like everybody's starting to get some track space.
And you can see these drivers, if you're looking at them, keep an eye on them on the ticker that goes underneath the screen there. Even Williams up to 16th position now. Callisto has not been able to make any ground up. Still running around 14th. Up to 12th.
12th is around 14.
Only 2 off. Well, we've jumped to 10th anyways, also 2 more off. And that has one of our championship contenders getting very close. Smitty almost making contact with the number 8 of Gary Nichols. He has to get out of it, and his momentum has lost him a fair bit of ground. Oh, and a little bit of chrome horn from the number 8 of Gary Nichols on Trent Dursmid.
Michael's none too happy with Gary right there. I think Gary was just trying to show him, hey, still got a lot of racing to go. Gary drifts up to the wall. I think he overdrives it. He was getting on the radio, and I think he maybe missed his mark going into the turn because that just cost him 2 more spots.
Yeah, that allowed Smitty and Michael Lane to go on through. And Michael Lane's actually 2 laps down, so that wasn't for position with him.
That battle back there, 8th, 9th with Dursmid and Pence and Smitty, Lane and Gelder, that's been something else. Nichols is now in it.
Now, how far back was Joe Nathan on Sam Bourne before? Because right now is not far back at all. He's within 2/10 of the second place driver. The number 65 under serious threat.
I think he closed that in from about 1.5 seconds. It's when I was talking about him last time. I think I remember that number up on the interval screen.
We jump on board with Nathan in P3. He looks down to the inside, coming through 3 and 4. Nothing doing there. Had the pace to catch him, but Bill, you always like to say, it's one thing to catch a driver.
It's like milking a rooster to pass him. The easy part is, I don't know how that works. What is it? The hard part happens after you catch him. I don't know.
Yeah.
There you go. Sorry.
It's your saying. Come on, man.
That's my dad's saying. I can't.
Oh, but look at the run that Nathan has coming off of turn 2. He looks to the inside, down into 3. Quite have his nose in, but Bourne gives him room. Stays to the high side, carrying his momentum. Nathan, however, tries to take the speed down on the low, shallow side without the banking. Almost manages to do it. They're still side by side across the line. And this time into the corner, Nathan looking a lot harder down into the banking.
Rooster milk.
Phrase of the day from Bill. Oh, Bill's on there, but Nathan manages to work himself into P2.
Nathan set that up the last time through 1 and 2. He ran about a groove higher than Sam Boren.
Oh, we're hearing that Callisto's in, yeah.
From Callisto. So now, this is where it's going to be curious. They've got about 40-some laps, 41, 42 laps on their tires. So let's see how many people he pulls with him. If people have kind of caught on, because they're either going to catch on really quick when he starts running some blistering lap times again. But going back to Joe, he set that up going about a lane higher in 1 and 2, which gave him that huge run out of turn 2 to take that momentum and dive down to the inside in 3 and 4. That you're going to see that pass a lot today. That's a very popular way of getting around somebody.
We're currently back on 18th. Scott Gruber trying to find his way around Nick Hunt, but unfortunately drifts a little bit high, and that opens the door for Ryan Toma. Tomer's number 30 car trying to see if he can work the low side. I think he's going to do it. He's got the speed, but it starts to peter out on the exit of the corner. Gruber tries to come back at him. They're side by side, door to door. And just ahead of them, Nick Hunt elects to head into the pits, not wanting to be any part of this.
Taft Baldwin also coming in. He had worked his way up right behind sixth place car. He's going to do this early pit stop as well.
Our leaders have yet to respond. Walls, Nathan, Boren, Barnes, all of them still out there.
We've seen Kalisto do this early pit strategy before. I like what he does with pit stops.
And Boren is in. Just as I say, our leaders have not responded. Second place car, Sam Boren, comes in.
I have a feeling you're going to start seeing them come to pit road in droves now.
So Brian, you're saying this is tire related, not fuel related, right?
Absolutely. These guys can still run probably another probably about 10 laps on fuel, but the tire give up and the tire fall off is so great that you're going to want to pit as soon as you start seeing people come around you, because if you stay out even 2 laps, you're looking at Mark Walls, who's coming onto pit road. Now, in a hypothetical world, if he pitted, or if Joe pitted and then he waited 2 laps, we come back around.
Got a 3-wide situation here down the front stretch in P14. And they managed to work that out, but there is
Would probably be ahead of him.
a gaggle of cars.
And the car, that's Kalisto, I think, in the blue car there with fresh tires.
See what I mean? This is exactly what I'm talking about. You all of a sudden, you come out of turn 2 and you go into turn 3 after pit road, and you go, hey, I got grip again. This is cool.
And you can see...
Actually, I'm sorry, that's Taft Baldwin in the blue car. They're currently running in 21st position. Look at him cut his way through there.
You can see the visual difference with Kalisto in the number 84, absolutely blowing everybody away, but he's got Sam Boren with him. So that early call has actually put Kalisto back in the hunt if he is with Boren, who was in P2 before.
You're going to see what I'm talking about. Joe Nathan just hit pit road. This is where you're going to see it, because Walls are 2 laps, so I'll be curious to see the gap there. As I watch you.
8 caught a little bit of the wall, and interesting,
has already been on the pit road and off.
Williams tried to head in for the pits. Our championship leader nearly missed the entry, actually had to cut across the grass to get himself into pit lane. Now, is that going to be a penalty?
Potentially. I can't quite remember how iRacing calls that one, but if you do miss it on entrance or exit, you will get a penalty.
He's in his pit stall now. I'm keeping an eye to see if he's going to be sitting still after his 4 tires. Might just be taking fuel, though. Looking at P15 Sam Boren at the moment. Worked his way up to 14th. And critically, they've just passed Nathan.
There are 3 guys that are flying on fresh rubber. It's Sam Boren, Listo, and Baldwin.
Well, Mark Walls he's been able to enjoy having those fresh tires, and he's gained himself quite a gap. When we look back to Nathan.
Lionel Kalisto makes contact. That's with Trent Dersmid. Dersmid slow amidst the pack. I don't think he's taken his stop yet. That's slowing up Sam Boren, who finally works his way past the inside. But his momentum was absolutely ruined through 3 and 4, and he has lost touch with his contenders that he's been trying to fight with. That includes Baldwin, Nathan, and Kalisto stretching away. Sounds like we're getting information that it should not be a penalty, what we saw of David Williams heading into the pits.
Chris Beck coming in from 2nd position now.
So that leaves Brian Barnes yet to pit. Smitty has yet to pit. Are these guys missing a trick and making a strategic error here, Brian?
Absolutely. Absolutely, they're making a strategic error. I look at Joe Nathan, who just ran the fastest lap on track, a 29.73. You compare that to Brian Barnes, who ran a 31.71. You're talking 2 seconds a lap difference. It's a huge strategic error from Brian Barnes and Michael Smith.
Now, I'm wondering if they're hoping and praying for maybe a caution in here, because all these other guys are a lap down currently, having gone in. And there it is in the devil.
Wow. You called that one.
Taft Baldwin.
Points leader hits the wall trying to avoid him. David Williams bounced off of the wall trying to get around Taft.
How damaged is his car?
I don't think he's damaged that bad. It was a guess, but
So Taft Baldwin just started to let it go around in 1 and 2. Now we had another car sideways. Trying to figure out who that is in the middle of the track. Kyle Murphy, it looks like. That was on the exit of 2. He was all by himself. And oh, he overcorrected. Tank slapper straight into the wall. Almost made contact with someone along the way. Couldn't quite make out who that was.
I think he hit somebody. Who? I think he cut into Matt Gelder as he bounced off of the wall and was spinning there.
So we hop up to the blimp view and see what it looks like. Yeah, definitely made some contact there. And it was in fact Matt Gelder who ran into him. Let's see what it's like on board Gelder, see what he saw. Just not much time to react there. Especially with you couldn't see it from on board. He had Stephen Paulison down low on him, so he didn't want to try and dive down into him. So Brian Barnes finally heads in. Smitty finally heads in.
And Brian Bennett is in.
Now who gets our Tyee Kennels lucky dog to this caution? Since we got cars a lap down now. We're thinking it's going to be Chris Beck getting that lucky dog.
Yeah, my timing and scoring hasn't quite picked up, but I do believe it will be Chris Beck.
Now, we do have an in-race reporter. Let's see if we've got a little bit of a chance for Smitty now that he's got his pit stop done. If he would be willing to talk to us. Let's send Bill down to the Smitty's room there. See if he's ready to come and talk to us.
See if I can find him here. Smitty, you got a copy?
Yeah, I got you guys. What's happening?
Okay, let's talk about pit stops. You just came in. You're going to be starting too far back. It looks like you're going to be maybe 9th or 10th, maybe, do you think?
That would have been the case had I gotten a passing under yellow. Looks like the sim thought that I was past the 37, so I'll be getting a penalty for that.
At a stop and go you're going to have to serve, you think? Is that under green?
Oh, God, I hope not. To be honest with you, I'm hoping it's a drop to the end. Honestly, I haven't gotten one anytime lately. Yeah, that was a timely caution for us trying to do the long haul. It worked out pretty good until that penalty.
Well, real quickly, I'll let you get back to your race. Is that going to be the strategy for you, is to run it long? Because a lot of guys are coming in early for those tires.
Yeah, let's go ahead and talk about my strategy, Bill. Let's go ahead and let everybody know what I'm going to do. You know what? We're going to see a lot of that, too. The fall off in the tires is massive. We're all losing at least 2 seconds on a fuel run here. So fresh tires pay dividends. Yeah, it's a catch-22. You hang out a little bit to try to push it, but you are losing. We saw there, right? All those guys with fresh tires. So we'll see how it works out. I think it's all kind of setting up for the last 50 or so laps.
All right, Smitty, go get him.
Rock and roll. Appreciate it, guys. Thanks again.
That was Michael Smith, our in-race reporter in the number 27. Actually is up for the championship. He's one of the guys with a mathematical opportunity, but he's going to have to hope for basically a lot of cars ahead of him in the points to wreck out. Now we've got guys getting their laps back. And do we get a confirmation on our lucky dog? We said it was Carl Burke, I believe, right?
Chris Beck, I think it was.
Or Chris Beck, excuse me.
Michael Smith getting a little attitude there with the GSRC guys.
We do believe we have confirmation that number 34, Chris Beck, is our Tyee Kennels lucky dog for this caution as he comes back around. Smitty actually does commentate with us with the Autobahn Motor Car Group, so he knows as well. He knows he can mouth off a little bit with us.
I think something to pay attention to here is he's still going to restart there in P2. I think the penalty would have to be, unless it got cleared somehow that I'm not aware of, he's going to have to make a green flag stop.
Oof, which is going to hurt. So this time with the green flag, we're going to turn the volume up. Make sure and crank it up on your end and listen to the roar of these engines as 30 cars take to the track with the pace car peeling off. Let's go racing. And it was a penalty for Smitty. He heads into the pit entry lane. Heartbreak after starting in P2 on that restart.
Now, Brian, what was interesting on this, I was figuring that those guys who came in for that pit stop were going to start behind the guys who had pitted earlier, but everybody came in for the pit stops. Even Callisto and Baldwin, all the guys who had pitted made the early stop, so everyone's pretty much on the same strategy now.
Well, everybody that was the beneficiary there. But you're looking at probably the top 6. I mean, they had nothing to lose. You had 6 cars on the lead lap. Why not just come on in and pit?
Yeah.
So now the interesting thing is going to be everybody that was trapped a lap down there. They took the wave around there, and now you're hoping for a quick caution that's going to kind of even everything out, because the guys that pitted, I'm looking at guys like Nick Hunt, Drew Lalonde, Taft Baldwin. They've got a lot of laps on their tires, so they're hurting already. And especially when you get a heat cycle on these old Goodyear Eagles, they just don't want to stick anymore onto that track.
Now, let's give you an idea of what it looks like now that things have been shuffled around. Brian Barnes is currently your leader. Joe Nathan is still up in P2. Eric Walls has worked his way back into P3. Lionel Callisto in 4th. And then we've got Chris Pence rounding out the top 5. So a lot of our front runners from the first long green stint are back up there, despite some alternate strategy from guys like Brian Barnes. Barnes actually isn't relinquishing this lead. He's holding on to that half second.
He's driving it like he stole it through there.
Joe Nathan, however, has definitely got Mark Walls, that Beard Co. machine, all over the back of him. Didn't quite get a run coming out of 2. Here we're right on board with Walls. Just behind him, we've got a little bit of a battle between Boren and Callisto, except actually Boren's a lap down. So how did Boren get a lap down in there?
He pitted when everybody takes the wave around, if you don't pit, you can wave around the pace car. But I think a number of the guys kind of back there. So you're looking at Boren, Gruber, Burke, Williams, our point leader. Our point leader, David Williams.
He's sitting 23rd currently.
Yeah, he's a lap down. So what those guys elected to do is said, okay, you know what? I'm going to come, get tires, and I'm going to hope to catch a quick caution and take advantage of the Ty Kennel's lucky dog.
Now I'm trying to look at the points here and see who is looking in a good position. Right now, I think Lionel Callisto, if things finished how they are right now, would be our champion, because David Williams, all the way down in 23rd, is way too far back to try and keep some of those guys from overtaking him in the points.
Yeah, Rob Gall, I believe, is your second place finisher. He's currently running 11th.
And Bennett had a huge moment. He's being overtaken by a number of cars. In fact, he's going to lose yet. He's not going to lose this to Carl Burke because he's a lap down. He's just going to try and get his lap back.
Joe Nathan's closing in big time on Brian Barnes. Lap after lap, very consistent lap times. You see him kind of running the middle group. This is why drivers love Homestead. You got Brian Barnes up by the wall, Joe Nathan running the middle of the track, and they're going to come out down the middle of the backstretch just about where they went into turn 1 and 2. Let's see how they drive on into 3 here. Joe's going to look low. Brian's going to try to keep the momentum wound up on the high side, but that might be too high. Joe's making a run on the inside, coming down to turn 4.
Could see another change for the lead. Joe Nathan side by side brings it right up to the door. He's got a nose ahead through 1 and 2. He could drift up now if he wanted to, but he elects to stay low. And once they get to the backstretch, it's Joe Nathan as our leader.
I thought Brian was going to make a move to the inside, try to cross him over, but he fell in line, decided to follow the leader there as Joe comes very close to the wall off of turn 4.
We are on lap 73 now. We're getting into the meat of this race of 267.
Brian, will the dynamic track conditions, will grooves change during the race, do you think?
Absolutely, because the groove is good. The heat will follow the track, and you're kind of watching it already rubber in. So as this race burns on, it's a little early to see some of the effects. You're probably going to see it show up right around about halfway through the race, or maybe 60% through the race. But you're going to see a very distinct dark groove kind of following in the middle of the turns. So what you're going to try to do is run where there's grip. So you're looking at Brian, and we got a smoker in the grass out there on the track.
Sounds like me in high school.
I was just about to make a similar joke. And that is Gary LaViolette. Just been having a miserable day. Got disconnected at the start of the race, and now his engine has decided to expire. So let's jump over to 9th where we can see Brian Bennett is ahead of a whole gaggle of cars. Nick Hunt leading Carl Burke, David Williams, Trent Dursmid, Rob Gall, Bob Beltrami, just a mess of people. And just behind them is Smitty, who did go a lap down from that penalty. He's trying to work his way back into things. Can't count him out yet. And we saw another car with a blown engine down low. Now, is this...
No, it's still Gary.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's been sputting around, and now I think it's just completely terminal as he's kind of parked on the entrance.
Yep, there you go. He exits off of the course now and gets towed into his pit stall.
You were mentioning Michael Smith, or Smitty as we're going to call him. Right now, he needs to go up there and find Sam Boren, who's right now just crossed the start-finish line. Because Sam Boren is the first car 1 lap down. So Michael he's looking at maybe at least another caution before he can get up there, unless he can drive up there and pass Sam himself. But that's going to be a mighty tall order when you're just under half a speedway behind the guy you're chasing.
Yeah, and not only that, but he's got a bunch of cars around him that he's fighting. Don't want to give way at the moment. He's trying to get, actually, I believe this is for position, past Carl Burke. And I think he's able to do it. Next in line is going to be Bob Beltrami. He is a lap up on him, so that's not for position. However, Beltrami has got his own battles to worry about, going side by side with Nick Hunt for P12. One of the interesting things about Smitty's 2 wins is he had trouble at the very start of both races. Now, it wasn't quite at the very start of this race that he got that penalty, but there's still a fair bit yet to go, so you can't write him out. He's come back and won twice before. Maybe he can do it a 3rd time, be the only 3-time winner in this season.
Well, Danny Sullivan won an 8,500 by spinning out.
The infamous spin to win, one of my favorite moments from the world of the Indy 500. And Smitty's managed to get past Nick Hunt. Next up is going to be Beltrami.
Oh, who's that spinning on the front stretch?
I don't know, but it's caused... Oh, no, one of our top contenders.
But he hits nothing.
He spun himself out. There was no help in that.
He's doing the right thing. He's got the brakes held, sitting there waiting for everybody to go by. Now he's going to start rolling off.
We're looking at the replay. You can see, once again, in that number 18, the rear just starts to come out. Has a tank slapper. Miraculously, he keeps it off the inside wall after getting very close to it, and then manages to keep it off the outside wall and manages to have everybody coming by, see him, and take to the low side. I'm not sure who that was that under coming out of 4. Let me see if I can figure that out. We'd love to see an onboard from that. looks like that was Chris Pence, actually. Pence, one of our championship contenders, has a heart stopper. See what it's like on board with Pence, as we've actually got a lot of cars heading in for pit stops. And just a ways up, you can start to see it go wrong. Wow. Definitely had to get that car slow to try and make it underneath there. Now, what does this do for guys, let's see, like David Williams, who has elected to stay out and is going to be back on the lead lap? And as we're letting that go through, let's hop over to the next of our championship orders.
Well, I think I'm going to just jump in here. I think Sam Boren is going to probably get the lucky dog. Who's sponsoring our lucky dog?
Ty Kennel's Lucky Dog.
There you go. Well, thanks to them, I think Sam Boren, who's going to come all the way around. Now, the reason we talk about Sam Boren is he is actually the Volp Vapes leader. You know, I was going through the standings and I looked down there, and all season long it's been Mike Franklin. But I looked down there this week, and hey, who did I see? It's Sam Boren has overtaken Mike Franklin in the Sportsman Championship. Now, fellow Lone Starter Adam Young sits in third, but he and Boren did not. Oh, well, I'm sorry, Young didn't qualify for this race. Boren's here today. All the other guys who are running up here in this division, like Mark Redeker and Aaron Stowe, they're all going to be down in the what they call the amateur split. There's two splits here, and of course that's hosted by our good friends at LSR TV. They're broadcasting that. So Sam Boren is the only real guy in the sportsman category in this split, and he's doing now. He's got that lucky dog. He's been up in front. I think he's going to do rather well.
And I have to make a small correction. David Williams did not come in because he was a lap down. Now that they are letting the lapped cars pit, Williams did come in. However, Smitty did not. So Smitty is going to try and get himself back onto the lead lap. Now, Brian, what does that do strategically, though? I have to imagine he's going to be on old tires, so it's not going to be easy if he gets another long green flag run after this.
No, he's going to find himself in a world of trouble if this goes another long green flag run. He's got 19 laps on the tires right now, so he's just under halfway through his run. If he lets it go all the way out with all the cautions, he might be able to stretch that to about 57 laps total for him, which would put him to lap. Oh boy, I'm going to have to math here really quick. Somewhere around lap 110 in that kind of area is where you'd probably have to see him back on pit road again.
And also, who this played out well for was Taft Baldwin. I was watching him make his way through the field. He was really fast. Then he had that spin. And what he decided to do, because he was so far back when that yellow came out, he didn't pit. He stayed out there on old tires, and he was dropping. He was really the slowest car on the lead lap. Well, now he's back in there with everybody. He's got fresh tires. He's going to be running in about 20th position. Look for that 05 car. Let's see who his sponsor is there. PMC, whatever that is. It's going to, in that beautiful blue and gray car, PMC. I don't know what that is. But keep an eye on that as he makes his way through.
Baldwin making it.
PMG. Let me at least get the sponsor right. PMG, I believe it is.
Taft Baldwin obviously making a good call, but also having a little bit of luck on his side here today. We'll see what he can do now that he's got fresh tires at the back of the pack on the lead lap. The lights are off on the pace car, and Joe Nathan is going to lead us to the line this time here on lap 85. We're going to go green once again. Brian Barnes is going to be on the outside, and a familiar face we're getting used to seeing up at the top. He's managed to come back from his earlier problem, Lionel Little Train Callisto.
How about Joe Nathan, qualified 20th up there? Good for him.
Boy, that would be a great run if he can win this race from 20th on the grid out of 30 cars. So, pace car peels off. Nathan takes control, accelerates away cleanly, and we are back to racing here at Homestead in the finale of the Pacific Majors.
Car dropping is Bob Ring the Beltrami. Boy, he's dropped to 12th position, holding up a big slew of cars. Beltrami really struggling in the 71 machine.
Yeah, he's got Brian Bennett back there, got Gary Nichols, Mark Walls is in that group. And actually, he's started to stretch away from them a little bit, so maybe he just had a bit of a bad run down into 3 and 4. Meanwhile, our top 4 just starting to settle in up there. Oh, with Brian Barnes, though, really carrying the speed down into turn 1. Has nowhere to go with it as he drifts up high. Oh, and Little Train off to the inside. Does he stay off the wall? He does. How in the world did he stay off the wall? He's going down the order, though. Gets the car back on the black stuff and gets going. I'm sure he's thankful that there's no flat spots in iRacing quite yet. In front of him, Nick Hunt does come into the pits. Let's look at the replay of Little Train in the red and white machine. The number 84, I thought for sure he was headed into that wall. I almost think it was saved by the gap that's you're supposed to take the cars through for emergency vehicles.
Now he's got to do it all over again.
He's down to 20th.
Who's the guy, Sisyphus? Who's the guy who pushes the boulder up the hill and has to keep doing it over and over?
I think that is Sisyphus.
There should be an award for that.
The award for most well-read commentator, I think, in the group. So that means Chris Pence now is up into the podium position. Oh, and we just saw a little bit of a spinner.
Oh, Sam Boren.
And he did get the wall, it looks like. Took a hard thunk. And he's actually escaped. He's taken a tow, and there's no caution for Sam. That is not going to help him. And in fact, I think he's exited out of the sim. You see the replay there. Just that left side of the car flattened on that inside wall.
I blame myself. I just talked about him as a sportsman champion. Sorry, Sam.
Now, if we do eventually get a caution, we're not going to get a caution for that accident. Right now, highest car lap down, David Williams. He's in 21st at the moment, so he could get back on this lead lap with a caution and the Ty Kennel's lucky dog coming in his favor.
But he's got Matt Gelder right behind him. Well, actually, no, he doesn't. Matt Gelder
Ryan Toma is the next guy back, yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
Toma's quite a bit farther back, so good for David.
We've jumped up to 8th, Bob Beltrami, who you thought was slow, but doesn't look like it because he's caught up to the back of Hesbeck. In the meantime, we've jumped a little bit farther back to 10th. Our director leaving us behind a little bit here.
Hey, and who's that going by there in 10th position now?
That is Taft Baldwin once again around Mark Walls, who led a number of laps earlier on.
He was the last car on the lead lap.
In fact, interestingly, Walls has led the most laps so far with 47. Our current leader, Joe Nathan, up to 24. We got a car sideways down on the back stretch.
Lionel Callisto. Is it Lionel Callisto?
No, it's Lalonde. This is the most almost spins or spins we've seen without a caution.
Kind of spin off into that grass area. Yeah, all right. It's when you come back up on the track and stop. That's when the caution starts flying.
The number 3 not hitting anything, just coming to a halt down in the green stuff, while Walt's still in a nice battle with Gary Nichols. That is for 8th position. Waltz moves down to the inside, trying to get himself back up to the top. And I think he might be able to have this done. Nichols wants to try and get a piece of it, tries to carry his momentum, but doesn't have enough down into turn 1. In fact, causes Taft Baldwin to have to get out of it just behind him. We jump back up to P2. Brian Barnes has caught up to Joe Nathan.
I think our director may have officially lost his mind. He's just maniacally laughing there.
So,
Meanwhile, back up front.
yet we're still watching Brian Barnes try to work Joe Nathan. Just poking and prodding, seeing what he can find. He looks up to the outside, try to run that high line, see if he can carry the momentum down onto the front stretch, but it's not going to be enough. Nathan leads another one. Jump a little bit farther back to Nichols and P10. That's the battle that we've been seeing on and off here. Baldwin up ahead of him. Walls has managed to pass both of them. Next on his hit list is Alan Haysbeck in 7th. Watching Waltz now, looking at that number 13. Sizing him up, looks down to the inside, and look at the speed he carries down into there. He's going to get it done in this one corner, I think. Ooh, big bobble from Walls, though. In the meantime, we've jumped back to Hutchison in a nice little battle with Gruber. Almost goes down to Gelder behind him, although Gelder is 3 laps down, so he is not in this fight. He's just trying to get his laps back. For the P11, we see Dursmid just behind Nichols, back to that battle we were watching before. And actually, interestingly, just ahead of them, Haysbeck was overtaken by Baldwin. Haysbeck seems to be moving a little bit backwards here.
Well, maybe, but guys who are really moving it, it's Waltz and Baldwin. Baldwin is just kind of following Waltz through. These guys are really fast.
Not really surprised as he overtakes Beltrami. And I think he's got it.
So what Baldwin does is usually makes the move right behind him there.
Meanwhile, back up front, Brian Barnes is just all over the rear bumper of Joe Nathan. It's been one of them battles. Now we're watching Joe take the very high line into 1 and 2, and Brian take the middle groove. And we're going to see Joe probably pull away there coming out of 2. Yep, that's exactly what happens. When you get that high line, you just keep the engine wound up, and you can just motor right off of those corners.
So Waltz has been making incredible progress. He's already up to P5, although he's got a little bit of ways to go. 2 whole seconds up to our 4th place, Chris Beck.
And now watch Baldwin behind him.
Man, that battle back in 10th just will not die down. Dursmid getting overtaken around the outside by Nichols in the number 8. Oh, we've got a spinner on the backstretch. Is that Gruber? Trying to figure out who that
Brian
was.
Toma, baby.
It was Toma. Once again, no caution. And actually, he made contact with the wall. Rear end starts to come around. He's got a tank slapper going and isn't able to correct it enough. Yeah, a couple hits into that inside wall. Certainly going to set him back, and he is into pit lane, actually. Barely into pit lane because Toma was very squirrely, but we're on Brian Barnes in P2 still just hassling Joe Nathan at every corner. And Nathan is being a cool character here, Brian. I'm not seeing any mistakes up there.
Absolutely not. He's sitting on the hot stove and sweating ice water right now. Absolutely no mistakes. That car has not wound up sideways. He's not overdrove it. He's just running his line and really making Brian overdrive his stuff. And eventually, as this run wears on, you'll probably watch Brian fall off the rear bumper of Joe more and more and more, because Brian's probably burning up everything that those tires have on him right now.
And I thought I saw a car head into the pits, so we might see green flag stops here pretty soon. 106 laps in. We've switched to Rob Gall in P8. He's got Nichols behind him and Beltrami in front of him, sandwiched between them. Turns out that was Carl Burke who was heading into pit lane. Let's check in on our championship contenders, see where everybody is. Looking down the order, Pence sitting in third, looking excellent at the moment.
And Williams still sitting in the lucky dog position, way back in 20th.
Lionel. And a car with much better traction works his way around the number 37. Little Train Kalisto, though, all the way down in 17th still. He made his recovery, but he hasn't been able to really make good on it after not hitting anything on that spin on the backstretch.
Okay, let's go to third, fourth, and fifth. Here he comes, your pole sitter, Mark Waltz, is flying again as he's going to get Chris Pence and maybe even the guy ahead of him and Chris back there. Couple Chris's to take care of.
The Waltz Beardco Toyota already managing to get past Pence in one corner. Can he make it two in one corner? He's got the momentum off of it, trying to get past Chris Beck. I think he's going to get it done into three. Beck tries to fight back around the outside using that high line that Brian mentioned, but it's just not enough. And drops back Mark Waltz into the podium spot. Interesting note about Waltz, he definitely knows how to set up the car. He was the setup maker for the Northwest Club, the iRacing World Cup Oval races. Explains why he's such a top contender out there today.
Okay, Taft Baldwin is coming into the pit lane now. He's going to do that early pit stop. He was having trouble keeping up with Waltz. He followed Waltz through all the traffic from the back. They charged through, but Waltz was beginning to pull away. So now, Brian, let's watch this. Bless you. Let's watch this. I guess that was our director who sneezed. Let's see how Baldwin comes out in comparison with Waltz, because those guys were both the class of the field, I think, for speed.
First one to blink, but that lead battle is not over by any stretch of the imagination. And Brian Barnes is actually giving the hurry up now to Joe Nathan. I think there was contact.
Not the first time. Barnes has been needling him, being like a little brother, being a real brat back there, just tagging him 2 or 3 times.
Nathan manages to put Nick Hunt between them, though. Gives him some breathing space.
Nick Hunt, no relation to world champion James Hunt.
You don't know that.
It sounded fun to say.
Oh, trust me, I wish I was related to Charles.
Did Brian Barnes at some point get into the wall? I think the right side of that car is scraped up a hair.
Let me go look. Let's jump on board.
I mean, I just noticed it as he drove by last time.
Yeah, you can see a little bit of damage on the right side of Barnes.
Well, he's nothing major. He just kissed the wall, but it's still going to
It seems like it's
offset it.
affecting him, yeah.
Well, either that or his stuff is burned up, like when I was talking about there. I mean, he drove the guts out of that thing for probably about 28 laps, just trying to get around Joe.
Let's look at David Williams real quick in the lucky dog position.
Oh, and not for long, though, because Taft Baldwin, who made his pit stop, has just come through and overtaken David Williams. That's not going to make him happy.
That's it. I was going to say he was in the lucky dog, but not for long. There's fresh tires.
Now, Brian, should Williams in for tires now? Or, that's going to set him farther back, but I imagine he's just going to continue to slip on back behind these guys.
It's this is where the strategy call is going to be made. I mean, you're looking at 32 laps on his tires right now. If you're kind of in threat, and the other goes Gary Nichols to pit road.
So Walls, who was in P3, is already up to Brian Barnes. He's on the inside looking to overtake him for P2. Walls put it on the pole. Now he's going to look to try and take the lead back from Joe Nathan. He's got 1 second up the road to chase down the number 20 machine.
Yeah, this is all well and good, but I think when these guys come in for the pit stop, I'm not going to be surprised if Taft Baldwin hasn't got them all.
He's the highest car a lap down at the moment, but also the first one to take that stop in this set of green flag racing. Now, interestingly, as we go on board whilst to watch him chase down Nathan. Oh, I was just about to say that Smitty is our last car on the lead lap. Remember, he didn't take tires. Now he's finally asked to give up the ghost 117 laps in, and he is into pit lane. Still on board with Walls. He's got Nick Hunt between himself and Joe Nathan. Nathan being the black machine up high there. You can see how he is gaining corner by corner.
He's just gobbling up distance. Last lap, 4/10 faster, which at this long into the run, 36 laps into this run, that's nothing to shake your head at. We got
and a caution is out.
Chris Pence.
Oh. He was one of our championship contenders. That was... Let's see if I can... We were watching the replay. Unfortunately, I missed it on screen. And that was actually... Was that contact with Trent Dursmid? Oh, wow. Whoa. So Dursmid made an absolute... I would call that... they call that warping. But I've never seen it like that. What in the world happened there? And unfortunately, it meant that Pence was shot straight into the wall because he got tipped. And then he also made contact with the number 13 of Alan Haysbeck, too. The car that got launched in the air was Dursmid.
Yeah?
Trent Dursmid, yeah.
That was one of the weirdest glitches I've ever seen in my life.
Same here. And I don't think that was from the internet connection because he was immediately into pit lane. I have no idea what exactly happened there. We're going to watch the replay one more time here. That was just far. So, okay, with all this craziness going on, who got our lucky dog?
Right, Taft Baldwin.
So Taft Baldwin gets the Tyee Kennels lucky dog today.
You want to know who this burned? It's our friend Smitty. Just pit road, and I don't even think the right sides were off the jack before that caution hit.
Yeah, and poor David Williams also now the next car in line with a lap down. He's been trying to get back in this. However, Williams is currently 15th. I think that's going to change now that he's heading into the pits. Let's see what he comes out as.
Yeah, because technically right now he was the last car on the lead lap right then, and now that he's pitting, that's going to cycle him back down to the lead to 1 lap down.
Yeah, and it also didn't help Taft Baldwin because he made that early pit stop. He was flying. I had just checked the lap times. He was doing lap times 2 seconds faster than the leaders, even though he was a lap down. So certainly when those leaders were going to come in, he was going to have the lead. Of course, his tires were going to be about 10 laps older than theirs, so it was going to be interesting. Now he's coming in. He'll have the same cycle as everybody else. He's going to be about in 13th, 14th, 15th back there.
And Williams, it looks like, is going to cycle out in 17th. Now that we've had our top guys for the pits, let's read you the order. Joe Nathan still up in the lead. Mark Walls has worked his way all the way back through the field up into second place. Chris Beck sitting in third. That's an interesting development. The same thing with Bob Beltrami up into fourth. And then rounding out our top 5 is Alan Haysbeck in the number 13.
Yeah. We'll be surprised if Nathan holds this lead out of turn 2 because Waltz is really flying.
Well, the sad news is that Dersmit is out of the race. He has given us some information that it was a warp and it absolutely destroyed his car. So that's Dersmit's day over.
We're gonna take that car back to the shop and take it right out back and let some bullet holes go into it. I'm imagining.
I thought you were going to say cool down because it hit the speed of light in there at some point.
He may have time traveled.
Let's go ahead and put the camera on Brian Barnes here in the popsicle car. Is the leader. Brian Barnes is your leader in the Legends division. We haven't talked much about that today. Those are for guys, I believe they have to be over 50. And actually, he's not the leader. I'm wrong. He's the leads the what I'm going to call the squadron of bearded starbuckers. I'm calling them. That's all the guys from the Northwest. Brian Barnes, Wayne Hutchison, Carl Burke, Steve Paulson, Chris Beck, Mark Redeker. They're all chasing. Let's put the camera on this guy, Rob Gall. He's your leader in the Legends division from the West, with Barnes is just a pair of points behind Gall right now.
I think Barnes is in the Pepsi car. Though I guess Pepsi could make popsicles if they really wanted to.
Oh.
So, green flag is out as we were watching that, and Joe Nathan leads them away. Now, interestingly, Alan Hayesbeck got a terrible start. Just behind him was Lionel Callisto. Almost actually made contact, had to get out of it, ruined his momentum. But up front, now Walls has nothing between himself and Nathan. And already down into the corner, are we seeing a pass? Oh my goodness. He was almost half a second back. And by the end of the corner, Mark Walls is into the lead, into the Walls Beard Co. car.
You can go ahead and file that under power move right there.
My goodness. That car is on rails. The number 18 has come from, what was it, something like 17th some laps ago, now back into the lead. So we're going back to Scott Gruber in 10th place. He's trying to chase down Taft Baldwin. Good luck with that as Taft starts to stretch away. Forget about Taft, though. He's got the battle with the car behind him. Drew Lalonde working his way through the field, now up into the top 10. Just ahead of them, Callisto in the number 84 in a pack of cars. Every time he works his way up, something happens to send him back. And a couple of times it's been unforced errors on his part. Just ahead of him, up in third, Bob Beltrami trying to hold off Chris Beck. Looking to retain that podium position. In fact, it's quite a gaggle of cars. Beltrami, Beck, Gall, Callisto, Hesbeck, and Brian Barnes, all from 3rd to 8th. And here comes Barnes around the outside, trying to get back up to that second position that he was in for so long.
And behind them is Taft Baldwin.
Boy, you were right there, Bill. Baldwin just coming back into things. Now sitting in 9th. We're 127 laps into the race now.
Baldwin and Callisto, those are the kind of drivers that they just can't get a break. They're fast. They never can quite get up to the front. Callisto maybe not that fast as there goes Brian Barnes by him.
Getting very close to the halfway point.
Now that I've updated Trading Paints, it's nice to see that Barnes is in the Pepsi car, not the popsicle car.
I do remember the paint scheme you're talking about. He was in the popsicle car earlier this year. Alan Hayesbeck and Lionel Callisto, though, side by side, just behind Barnes. And Hayesbeck is the one that comes out on top, unfortunately for Callisto. Now he's got the hard-charging Taft Baldwin looking to the inside, down into 3. Barnes, in the meantime, overtakes Chris Haseback just ahead of him on screen. That puts Barnes into the top 5 now.
Added to the list of a bad night for Gary Nichols. He just spun off of turn 2 and caught the inside wall on both sides. Didn't bring out a caution, down kind of in that grassy area. Now is just trying to limp that car around. I was watching him one time this morning and wondering why his speed just all of a sudden plummeted. And typically when you're spinning backwards through the grass and hitting walls, that tends to slow you down.
Undoubtedly. So Gary Nichols with severe damage from that clunk into the inside wall that has aimed a few cars throughout today. There on screen we're seeing Chris Beck on the inside of Taft Baldwin. Not often we've been seeing cars going by Taft Baldwin. Usually it's the other way around.
Oops,
But
Gary Nichols is in the wall and just blew up.
again, and that's the caution. Now, who does this help out?
Other cars spinning. Also, Brian Bennett. We have all sorts of stuff going on.
Let's look at the replay of Nichols. That was on the front stretch. Gary Nichols just pushing wide and digs into the wall.
Yeah, Bennett.
Now,
Gelder got collected in that.
now that was a separate incident.
Yes, it was.
So where is... This was coming off of 4.
Hutchinson got in it. Gelder.
That was another unforced error.
Michael Smith was in that one.
Oh, just going from bad to worse. We're watching it from onboard. Gelder tries to duck to the inside, but just can't evade it. Hutchison as well behind him, getting a bit of that. Drew Lalonde getting just a bit of a tip as well.
Michael Smith had the spinning car in front of him. He turned it right and couldn't get off the wall.
We're watching Smitty's replay now. Had time to slow down, but yeah, as you said, just unfortunately could not get it eased up enough to try and take avoiding action. We're on board with him. Now, in all this means everybody's coming in for stops. Now, am I seeing correctly about... Oh, and... Joe Nathan, somehow in those pit stops, has managed to jump Mark Walls.
He had about a half a second pit stop. Half of a second pit stop. Half of a second quicker pit stop. I'll get it right one of these times.
Well, Brian, you know, it's interesting. Since they're not running the whole way anyway, they're not running a full fuel load anyway, it's just kind of a matter of how little gas do I want to take before I need to come in, right? There's no reason to fill it all the way up. You're never using it anyway. Maybe it goes as soon as tires are done, right?
I mean, the way, when you still have this many laps left in the race, you're not going to want to short fill it just because, well, especially as we're watching this attrition level pick up as this race goes on, you might not find yourself at the spot of that caution in a timely manner for yourself.
Well, no, but the point I'm making is nobody's running it to the end of their fuel load anyway. They're all coming in because the tires give out. So why put in a full fuel load if you know you're going to be coming in before it's empty anyway?
Because it's a balance issue there, Bill. If you were to just leave the fuel out and short fill it, you'd find yourself tighter over the course of the run. And I'm not saying that guys out there aren't doing it, but it's a definite bold strategy instead, because these cars hold 18.4 gallons. So if you're short filling it to maybe 16, I guess if you're just kind of building that in there, but it's a bold strategy. I'll put it that way.
That's me. I'm bold.
Someone got my someone got my reference there.
Our director obviously quoting a bit of dodgeball there. Now, speaking of bold strategies, David Williams has been in twice during this caution, but he's back on the lead lap. Remember, he is our championship leader coming into this round. Not sure if he's going to be going out. He's been having a hell of a time trying to get himself into that 13th position. Right now, he's in 15th. If he can get 2 more cars, he can solidify this championship. But it's been like pulling teeth out in that number 37 machine. That TNT Racing Chevrolet just having a hard time making up positions and just getting back on the lead lap for that matter.
He had a 12-point lead on Rob Gall starting the race. Now he's running 20th. Rob Gall's running 4th. I'm going to say Gall's in pretty good shape.
I'd say so too. Well, Bill, you may be bold, but I'm not sure if I could describe you as beautiful quite yet. So,
I can dodge a wrench, though.
But the pace lights are off. So Joe Nathan, who has retaken the lead through pit strategy, he is going to take them to the green flag here on lap 136.
This is going to be short-lived.
You have little faith, I suppose, there. Mark Walls is beside him. He's powered by him once before. Can he do it again? As we jump on board Beltrami, getting a good view, and Joe Nathan does not get a good jump at all on the green. Walls still to the outside. Tucks back into line, though, isn't able to get beside him through 1 and 2.
1 and 2 didn't matter last time. 3 and 4 was where Walls made that move.
Let's see if he's going to do it once more. He likes to send it in deep down to the low side of 3. And he's starting to do it again, but this time Joe Nathan is wise to his sticks and cuts him off.
Attaboy, Joe.
I think David showed that a little too early in the race. You pull that one with maybe 20 to go, not 120 to go.
And unfortunately, that caused a huge checkup behind him. Beltrami had to get out of it. That allowed Taft Baldwin into 3rd, and now Beltrami is in the thick of it with Rob Gall and Lionel Callisto all over the back of him. And Baldwin is not done. He is looking for 2nd place, overtaking Mark Walls.
Uh-oh.
Whoa! Tries to collect it. He's back over the track. We're going to see a caution, and he gets hit. Baldwin is over. Cole Burke gets a piece of him. Did anybody else hit Aft? Let's see. Oh, it looks like a couple people. Just starts to spin it to the inside, comes back over, tries to get it stopped. He got a little bit of a piece of Ryan Toma. And he got absolutely clobbered by Jason Pitts.
Guys, huge championship implications. David Williams got a small piece of that, and it looks like it's center punched right above the Chevy logo on the front of that car.
We're going to look at it from Jason Pitts. Also, Smitty unfortunately caught a piece of that as well. So his car is all dented up here. We ride on board with a 14th place car. Remember, this started all the way up in 3rd, so he had no idea. Wow, yeah, just a big blow into him. Taft Baldwin getting on the radio, apologizing to everybody.
Smitty just drove that new car off the showroom. He just got his new car after the spin. I think he's going to have trouble now.
Yeah, the slims that he had for that championship have now slipped away. Now, interestingly, David Williams on the lead lap. Look at his position. Let's see if we can get the camera on him. 13th. That's what he needs to do. It looked like it was slipping away, and it's starting to come back. He does have some damage. That might have been from a little bit earlier in the race, though. I don't think he got in that big accident that they had.
He did. He got a small piece of it. I think he got behind somebody who was trying to check up there.
He's a Marine. He's going to keep that thing dented up. He wants to bring home a a dented up car all over the place. That's how he wants to win this thing.
He just came in and took 4 tires, so. Well, wait a minute now. That's a good point. Had he used his reset yet? No.
The car looks good now.
It looks spotless.
Oh,
there, I see it now.
I think he maybe just got a little bit of repairs. Hard to tell.
Unless there's a strategy here where he comes back down pit road.
Well, we know that James Wyckoff of TNT Racing has been watching this. So James, I don't know if you got him on the radio. Does he? Did he get repairs or did he get a clean car? "142 laps in, still quite a bit of this race yet to go still." So our order on this caution is Joe Nathan still up in front, was able to rebuff Mark Walls, saw his tactics coming and covered him off at the pass down into turn 3. Walls still in second, although it looked like he might have lost it a little bit earlier. Unfortunately, Taft Baldwin spun off in the midst of that pass attempt. Bob Beltrami is in third, that podium position. He's been doing a great job getting himself back up into this thing. Rob Gall sitting in fourth, and Brian Barnes has managed to round out the top 5 of the field here. And Hayspec asking Gall what his drop points are. I'm surprised that Gall even responded over the radio. I think if I was Gall, I'd be like, "I'm not telling you."
I'd be lying. I have wins across the board, baby. I got no drop points here. Drop points, for those who don't understand, that it's called like a dropped race insurance there. If you have a bad race or you miss a race, then you get to drop maybe 1 or 2 in this series.
Their 2 worst results, or is it actually? I think it's 4 worst results don't count in this series. Is how it works. If anybody is a fan of the old Formula One style point system from the 80s, it confused everybody. That's basically what this is like.
I remember that point system. That was a good idea in theory. Not really good when they put it to practice.
Well, so does dodging a wrench to try to learn dodgeball, but.
So we're getting word from teammate Wyckoff that Williams has used his repair earlier on in the race.
But at this point, I don't think it's mattering because David Williams is running 12th. He needs to finish 13th. If you look at the standings, we have 13 cars on the lead lap. So even if it runs through, he's sitting in the catbird spot.
Well, right now sitting in a very good position is Joe Nathan as he accelerates to the green. Pace car pulled off into the pits. Mark Walls goes for the chase. Bob Beltrami is trying to make sure that he doesn't get there, though, but he has to lift coming through turn 1. And now it's back to those top 2. They're going to be going at it. Can Mark Walls get it done?
A little too far back this time to make that.
Yeah,
Those 2 are stretching away.
You can certainly try to dive it in from there, but you might meet the wall up there in turn 4.
I was going to say, he probably hit the wall before he got even close to Joe Nathan from that far back.
Well, Carl Edwards tried it a couple years ago against this, and it didn't work out for him at all.
I think he actually quoted Neo Games as the inspiration for that move.
Yeah, the reoccurring theme of the night is bold strategy.
And Waltz has caught back up to the rear of the number 20. Sends it in low down into 1, but that's not where he was doing it before. Holds to that inside line. Tries to carry the speed up off of the corner. Gets back in behind Nathan. This is where we've been seeing it before. Heads down low. Does Nathan cover him off? He does not. Leaves a little bit of the door open. Mark Walls has the momentum coming out of 4, but it's just not quite enough. Nathan leads another one. behind them, Bob Beltrami drifting up the track up in front of Brian Barnes, still in that third position. Right on board with the number 14 of Beltrami, watching this battle ahead. Trisket machine in the popcorn position. And Wall's not able to make much of an inroads on Nathan, interestingly.
Yeah, nice job from Joe holding on now for the fourth lap.
And this is our top 5 altogether. You can't see him with us on board. Beltrami at the moment, who's actually looking around the outside of Walls. Beltrami getting a little bit of pace as well. Looks to the inside, coming down the front stretch. Not sure if he's going to be able to make that stick. We know that Walls likes that inside line, so he's taking it away from him. And I think Beltrami is moving into P2 down the backstretch. Here comes Brian Barnes with a little bit of a look, but he backs out of it, coming into 3. Barnes wants to try and get himself into the podium. Walls, who we thought was going to move himself up into the first position quickly, is now moving backwards.
Beltrami is really kind of showing some muscle here late in the going. I don't know if just kind of waiting, but with him being up there in second place, really showing some bite. But now he's got a challenge from Mark Walls looking back on the inside. Almost made contact. Oh boy! These cars have fenders, but if you break them in, they tend to not run that well. So maybe these guys know that. Maybe they don't. Maybe it's just the red mist of war setting over everybody.
Still side by side for that second position. Walls knocking in. He's going to have the inside down into 3 and 4. That's where he's been strong, on that low line. Can Beltrami hold on? Not a chance. Walls is now back into P2. And don't forget, just behind them, Brian Barnes. He's one of our championship contenders. He's only 2 points behind Rob Gall.
Beltrami pulled the over-under. Now he's back. Going back under the turn 2 contact. This is going to pull Brian right back up into it. Walls is going to come out on the worst side of this. He's probably going to drop back to potentially 4th place, 5th place right there. And if you're Joe Nathan, you're seeing all this happening in the rearview mirror going, all right, see you guys, I'm out.
And Walls is now down to P5, actually. Rob Gall trying to overtake him. I'm not sure that there was actually contact. I think that was just a bobble from Walls. Getting a little bit shooken up, not expecting him to get that close to him. He's not giving up, though, because he's back into P4, able to power around the outside of Gall. Meanwhile, just ahead, Brian Barnes on the rear spoiler of Beltrami drops off into 3.
These are cars that Walls was gobbling up and spitting out earlier in the race. Maybe his car isn't quite as good on an early part of the run. I know what it's like at the end of the run. He doesn't look the same dominance that he was just before the yellow.
Well, and what could be coming into is what we talked about maybe at the start of the race. Dynamic track. We're over halfway into this run, and you can see where Joe Nathan is running. There's a very distinct darkened groove there. So when these guys are probably testing their setups, there's no way you can duplicate 30-some-odd cars on a track. You're kind of just running by yourself. So maybe Walls just hasn't had enough adjustability built into his car. Maybe we're speculating too early because there's still 110 laps to go. But right now, Joe Nathan is in the catbird seat here.
And as I was looking at the points for Brian Barnes, I can't forget that 11th now, is moving 2 positions up from what he needs, is David Williams. And he's trying to put another lap on Smitty, actually, at the moment. Walls manages to get past Beltrami. I don't think Beltrami is going to take that sitting down as he closes in on the rear of him once more, but runs out of track before turn 3. So at the moment, if they finish as they are, your driver's champion will be David Williams, but he's still got over 100 laps to go to retain that 11th position. Now the battle for the lead looks to be on. Barnes looking very strong. We saw this show a little bit earlier on. Barnes versus Nathan. He is not afraid to run close. Looks a little bit to the inside, tries to carry the speed, coming off of 2. Doesn't quite have the run down the backstretch. Barnes certainly likes that slightly lower line coming through the corners, and it's paying off. He's got a nose in down the front straightaway. Now they head into 1 and 2. Can he keep it up? And just behind them, Wall sitting in the popcorn position as Nathan goes a little high. Did he actually make contact with the wall?
No, up there, whatever happens, it washes out because it's from the transition from turn 2 into the backstretch, and the track just flattens out right there. So what could have happened is he just didn't hit that spot in the track, and the car just all of a sudden de-wedges itself and gets a little squirrely.
And this allows Walls to get his nose in. Now Walls moves up into P2, and Nathan from first to third in about a lap.
But he might go back to second if Walls has anything to do with it.
So the order is up at the front.
Well, Williams got in the wall. He got tagged. It's about a half a lap back by Jason Pitts. I don't know if we want to get it on replay or not. Oh, he put it in the wall really hard.
And Nathan is not taking this sitting down, looking to the inside of Mark Walls. I thought Walls was going to make a move on Brian Barnes, but ran out of steam coming off of the corner. Now that they've settled just a little bit, your order is Barnes, Walls, Nathan, Beltrami, and Gall for the top 5, all with a nice little gap to the pack behind them. And Nathan might have clouded the wall on the exit of 4 there. It was very close. I think he just put a little stripe on it.
Boy, our points leader car is really banged up. The right front is, fender is pushed in. It can't be feeling good. David Williams is not happy.
He's going to be happy here. Sorry, Joe, but he's going to be happy here at the end because still, no one else has really gotten their lap back. Michael Lane is the first car 1 lap down. Even in a worst case scenario, you're looking at maybe going back to 15th if most of those cars get their laps back. He's just riding it right now. He's got no reason to push. He's got no real reason to really go do anything other than just kind of finish out the race because he's not in a spot where anything's going to hurt him. He just has to keep his nose clean.
But 15th would mean that he loses that championship as we watch the battle for P3 between Nathan and Beltrami. Because remember, Barnes is leading right now, and he's one of the guys with a mathematical chance in this thing. If Barnes is in the lead, that's the max points that he can get, which ensures that if Williams is not within that top 13, he will not be champion.
But Williams right now is 2 cautions away from that scenario unfolding because Michael Lane and Carl Burke both are 1 lap down. So if they're both going to need to get the lucky dog to get back onto the race or get it back onto the lead lap, that's when I would think you'd see David start to worry.
Well, 100 laps is a long time for 2 cautions to come out, though. That lead is under threat. In fact, right now, Mark Walls looks to the inside of Brian Barnes, trying to threaten him. Doesn't keep his speed off the corner. This is where he likes to send it in deep, though, going down to the shallow side. Can he drift up and cut off Brian Barnes? Doesn't quite have it. Barnes tries to come back on the outside, and look at the momentum of that Pepsi machine. And Mark Walls finally has it. Oh!
No, he doesn't.
A big mistake coming off of 2. Collects it, keeps it out of the grass, thins him back about half a second. Thought for sure he finally had job done coming through 1 and 2. But our leaders finally starting to separate. Barnes has a gap to Walls. Walls has a gap to Nathan. And a little ways back is Beltrami. And right behind them, Gall and Chris Beck with a battle for P5. Of those two, Gall comes out on top.
Gall in the hunt for the championship. He was 12 points back of Williams, and of course Barnes in the hunt for the championship as well. He was 14 points back of Williams, and Barnes is also in the hunt for that for the Legends Championship. So, you know, and if he wins it, I think like all the guys from the Northeast are going to get together at a Norm's for an early bird special. So I'm kind of pulling for him.
Well, there's hope for the guys of your ilk yet, Bill, if he can win the overall.
Got to get in before 5, though. Eat that dinner before 5.
We're looking at a battle for P7, though, on screen. Lionel Callisto continuing to just move back and forth like a yo-yo through this field. Is back into P7. Looking at Chris Beck, who's on the inside of Rob Gall. Are we going to see 3 wide off the corner? Callisto thinks better of it. Just behind him is Drew Lalonde in 8th as well.
So really what I'd be saying is Lionel Callisto is fighting.
I'm sorry, we had some contact. Rob Gall went to the outside wall. And that was contact, I think, was that with Beck? I believe it was.
Well, Beck is really proving for some stiff competition for everybody around him.
We're right on board with Gall. He got slotted back into 9th after that moment of, I'm sure, a bit of terror, hoping that the race is not slipping away from him. Remember, he's fighting for the championship as well. A note about David Williams, our current points leader, sitting in 12th. He's lost a position to Steve Paulson. Wayne Hutchison is not far behind as well. That'll demote David to the farthest down he can go while sealing the championship.
David's car, I mean, Bill talked about it. That car is wounded. It's definitely off the pace. Lap time wise, it's about 0.6 off of what the leaders are running.
Now, with Williams, you're talking about he doesn't want those 2 cautions to happen for those guys to get laps. Those 2 cautions could potentially help him, couldn't it? Could he get in, duck in to try and get some repairs?
He could, but I'm wondering just much that car is wounded. I mean, you can spend all the time in pit road to try to fix your damage, but really it dictates what iRacing is going to jump back up to the lead. Brian Barnes and Mark Walsh putting on a show up there.
Walls with his favorite move to the inside of 3, slides up the hill, and this time he gets it done. Barnes not able to carry the speed off the corner, and he gets demoted to P2.
Back to my point with David Williams, there's only so much damage you can fix. So what I'm really hoping for him is that there's not parts of the car that are internally wounded, that even if he got it all fixed, he wouldn't be able to maintain the pace.
Now, you're telling me that all those car guys over the years have told me there's nothing that duct tape and Bondo won't fix. Were they lying to me?
They may have been stretching the truth, a lot of it.
We ride on board with our second place driver, Brian Barnes. Just got overtaken about a lap and a half ago.
Guys, huge development for Williams to hit pit road.
Oh, has he decided he's had enough? Now, where's the next car in line? Chris
He
Pence.
made a stop, but now this is going to cost him.
Oh,
he's
no,
dropped to 15th.
But Chris Pence is coming in, who is behind him. You're right, he is out of it, though. Carl Burke has overtaken him. Michael Lane has overtaken him. I don't think that was for the damage, though. I think that was just a green flag tire stop for David Williams.
That's
No.
early. These guys have only run 35 laps on their tires.
Yeah, his car is still about 4 inches skinnier on the right-hand side.
There you can see the damage of Williams. That right side is all kinds of messed up.
That's how a Marine likes it.
Now, let's jump up a little ways because we got a fierce battle going on for 6th, 5th, 4th, and 3rd. Callisto following Nathan, following Beltrami, and Drew Lalonde. Somehow we didn't miss this. Lalonde's into the podium position. When did he do that? Oh, Beltrami into the wall. Beltrami with a glancing blow out of 4. Unfortunately for him, that means that both Callisto and Nathan have worked their way by. Callisto getting right up on the back of Nathan. Now, what happened to Nathan's pace? He was up in the front for so long. He led 78 laps. He still holds the most laps led, actually. And suddenly he's dropped back and is actually trying to hold off the 5th place car.
Could have just been ace.
And if you're seeing a white car flashing on Callisto, we apologize. That's Trading Paints. Not sure why our director still has Trading Paints running. Oh, and Nathan drifts high. This is Lionel Callisto's opportunity. He doesn't need a second invitation as he takes it. That moves Callisto into P4.
Battle-wise up, and it seems like everybody's kind of mellowed out here as the run has gone on. No real big gaps. No one's really closing. Everybody's running within about a tenth of each other, and we're probably in the ballpark of 15. I would say 10 to 15 laps away from pit stops at this point in the run.
Yep, we've got most everybody with their own little space, except for these pair that we have up at the top. Chris Beck trying to chase down Bob Beltrami. And just ahead of them, the other close battle is Nathan on Callisto, who just overtook him. Other than that, everybody has their own little bit of track. And here goes Beltrami into the pits. You were saying about tires there, Brian?
I think he's calling his shot now with 42 laps on the tires. This is where he's decided, you know what, I'm going to try to get a leapfrog on everybody.
Now, we've seen this a couple times already where drivers start to try and come in and get that leapfrog, and yet almost every single time, I think, we haven't been able to cycle through everybody. The caution has come out.
I was hoping you weren't going to mention that because it's jinx now. It was the thing. It was the elephant in the room, and now we pointed it out.
No, I think we're okay this time because we have a lot less drivers here as we see. We're looking at Callisto coming in and Nathan coming in nose to tail. There's only 20 cars running on the track as it is now, so I think we have a better chance of getting some green flag runs here.
Then lap by lap, Mark Holes, Brian Barnes, Drew Lalonde, Chris Pence. Chris Beck is the next one to peel off in the pit road from P4.
He saw what was happening in front of him, decided that's a good strategy call, comes on in. Walls, however, he took P1 away from Brian Barnes quite a while ago. The back gap is 2.5 seconds now on the track, so he is streaking away. And as I say that, he comes on into the pits. So Walt's also electing to try and pit early, get himself some fresh boots.
Everybody's hitting pit road now. Even time.
Barnes is in. Oh, and Barnes is closing the gap on Mark Walls down on the entry into pit lane. I think he looked a lot faster into there. Behind them, Drew Lalonde also in.
You can make up time coming in there to pit road if you're aggressive enough.
So we're getting some information on points. Unfortunately, I'm missing a little bit of the information that we're getting. It's a little off screen.
What it looks like, if I'm kind of reading this right, Williams really has to, if he finishes 23rd or better, he's going to knock out everybody except for Callisto and Pence, which with the way that this is running, leaves Callisto as the best opportunity to make up ground.
And Callisto has a tendency to keep his cards close to the vest, too. He was fast early. We still don't know what he has in store here when we get down to the last, 50 laps or so. Keep an eye on him. The drivers who could run with Waltz aren't really in here. The guys that I really thought were fast, Sam Bourne is out, and then also Taft Baldwin is out. Those were the guys who really had pace that was impressive. So right now it's Waltz, but we have to see what David Williams can salvage now. He's a lap down.
So the information that we're getting is that Williams has eliminated everybody but Callisto, and all he has to do now is actually finish 23rd, which is a lot more doable.
Well, since there's only 3 cars running, I think that's pretty easy to do. Let me in. Let me drive that car. I can bring it home from here. 19 cars on the track, and I got to finish 23rd? I could do that.
And we got one more out there. Gary LaViolette had his engine repaired.
But I think that knocks out everybody else except for Callisto and Pence. Now, I think that would be the 2 wild cards with Callisto and Pence when we look at the standings. Callisto being 15 points back and Pence being 16 points back. No, 18 points back. It makes it interesting. We'll put it that way.
It is not for yet. That's all that we know at this point. You're right that it is Callisto and Pence that are the ones that are still in this thing.
Yeah, the information I'm seeing, we were right before. 13th to still get Callisto, but 23rd eliminates the other parts that he was chasing coming into today.
Well, stick around, viewers, because Callisto is very capable of winning this thing.
Now, after these pit stops have cycled through, we got a car spun. Caution is out. Who is that? That's Michael Lane on the front stretch. I was just looking at David Williams, and all of a sudden there was a car sideways across the track. Another unforced error. Self-spin coming out of 4. Common story from today. Hits the inside wall for good measure. So, I was just about to say Williams was sitting in 9th. That is now 10th, I am seeing, if my timing and scoring is correct. Which is solidly within what he needs to do. And our lucky dog for this caution is going to be Steve Paulison. It's the Tyee Kennels lucky dog for this set of pace laps. Now, Hutchison has yet to stop, but he's currently scored as P1, so I'm pretty sure that's going to change. It was a long green flag run. I cannot see him staying out.
No, he has stayed out. He's got 53 laps on his tires right now.
What?
Yes, 53 laps on the tires. So really what this is going to do is once you get Paulison back on the lead lap, there's 13 spots. Guys, from a championship standpoint, no, David Williams is back on the lead lap. I was mistaken. I thought Williams was trapped more than one lap down, which would have been catastrophic of an issue.
He's in the pits now. Now, the question is, does he take repairs, or does he keep trying to wheel that thing around?
He's taking repairs this time.
He's on the lead lap. Might as well get some of that sheet metal banged out. So, lap 193. And Hutchison is in. I was going to say,
Everybody is in.
I could not imagine Hutchison staying out on those tires. Jason Pitts is in behind him. Michael Lane is in, who kicked off this caution. Burke is in. Smitty is in. Now, Williams was able to get the car out before he went a lap down. Got a little bit of repairs on that machine, and critically, still sitting in 13th. And he actually wheels it back around and comes into the pits once more. Now that we've got the leaders cycling through, let's go through our top 10 order. Joe Nathan has put it back on the top spot. I don't know how we missed that along there. Somewhere with all the green flag stops, he shuffled it up the order. Lionel Kalisto doing what he needs to do. He's got to win the race to take the championship. He's sitting in second. Drew Lalonde, a bit of a quiet race earlier on, but now he's in a podium spot. We've seen him do good at the Coca-Cola 600 earlier in the year. Mark Walls slipped back a little bit after all those shuffling of order through the pit stops. He's in 4th. And Brian Barnes is in 5th. Then we go back one more. We got Rob Gall in 6th. Chris Beck in 7th. Alan Hasebeck in 8th. Bob Beltrami has slipped back to 9th after he made some contact with the wall earlier on. And rounding out the top 10 is Scott Gruber. Lights are off on the pace car. We're going to go racing one more time. So now with this development, Williams sitting in 13th, just about where he needs to be, having gotten some repairs. And now Lionel Kalisto in 2nd. Bill, Brian, I don't know. What do you think? What's the call? Is Kalisto going to have it? Is Williams going to have it?
I don't know, but I know it's going to get interesting.
I like Kalisto. It's just a matter of Mark Walls is really the car to beat, so I don't know how many points he needs. We'll see.
He's going to need, I think, everyone that he can get. As the green flag is back out, pace car is off, and Nathan leads them off. Kalisto, not a very good start at all. In fact, so bad that Drew Lalonde has slipped to the inside and is going to be able to take that 2nd position. In fact, he might even lose 3rd. Mark Walls up to the inside. Kalisto powering around the outside of 3 and 4, trying to carry the momentum. Stops the bleeding, keeps Mark Walls back, but is not able to overtake Drew Lalonde, who is solidly into 2nd place.
Yeah, Drew having a great race. Very, very quiet. I don't think we mentioned him much at all this race.
Ooh, oh, things are getting very close between Kalisto and Walls. He squeezed him down to the inside. No contact was made. Meanwhile, Walls Beard Co machine still has the inside of Kalisto, and he might be able to demote him down to 4th here through 1 and 2.
Oh,
and he's got it done. Ooh. He's clear. He's got it.
Oh.
Kalisto backs out of it.
I don't think you could have put a paper between the rear quarter panel of that car and the wall coming out of
He's got a
22.
good spotter, boy.
But here comes Walls on Drew Lalonde. He's not going to stop at P3. Looking at P2, down to the inside of turn 1. Just powers on by Drew Lalonde.
Oh, and we've got a spin. Kalisto is in trouble. We got a turn 2.
Into the wall, just narrowly avoided, and the caution is out. And that was, he had help. I think he got tipped by Brian Barnes.
Yeah, Barnes really dove it in.
We're going to look at the replay. That
I
might have
don't
been
think there was
netcode.
any contact there, boys.
No contact. No, he got loose. He got loose before Barnes got there.
That was a tank slapper.
But I'm watching. Yeah, you're right. It was ever so close. Wow. And like that, the championship turns on a dime once again. And everybody into the pits.
Yeah, I'm recording the Walking Dead. This is like an episode of that where you get attached to a driver and then all of a sudden they get eaten by a zombie. Come on, Lionel.
You know, I tried to get into that show multiple times, and when the guy was fortified inside the tank and left the tank to fight zombies, that's when I gave up.
And this is great for David Williams because now he's in 12th ahead of Lionel Kalisto, and he can get more repairs while on the lead lap here.
But now, with that caution coming out, that adds one more car back to the lead lap, which I believe will be Carl Burke, if my timing and scoring updates correctly. So now the farthest back he can finish will be 14th, which takes him one spot out of the safe zone.
But critically, remember, Lionel Kalisto is his only threat in finishing 13th. So Kalisto has to work his way back up to the front, and he's now got a very damaged car.
Or does he?
Well, he's in his pit stall, and I think he's getting more repairs. We're getting corrections for Bill from the Peanut Gallery.
I called them zombies. I guess that's yes, they're walkers. It's amazing how nobody knows what a zombie is on that show. Call them a zombie.
It's an alternate universe, Bill. It's an alternate universe.
All right. Oh, is that how that works? Okay.
Now, Williams is going to have to get out soon because here comes the pace car. And now he's starting to come out. I think he's got the timing down by now. Yep, he's going to come to the line and head back on out. He must have had a lot of damage because he was in there for a long time. In fact, longer than Lionel Kalisto, who's back out and back in, actually.
Yeah, maybe Lionel going to try it again, get a little more repair, or maybe he says, no, I'm not going to be able to drive this, give me a new car. Let's see what he has. See if he has a new car in his pocket.
Well, that's a good question.
I had not considered that.
Because he's had some spins, but I don't think he's made contact with anything.
I don't think he's hit the wall, yeah.
Now would be about the you want to pull that one out of your pocket.
Certainly, if they weren't able to repair it to satisfaction, we're gonna watch him.
Boom!
And
Quick repair.
There you go.
Wow, held that one on for 202 laps. And
now,
I
guys, we've got an interesting dilemma here. There are 65.
65.
Never mind. Not an interesting dilemma. Still about 10 laps short.
Too far?
All right.
Too far.
Too far. Apparently, this late in the day, I got math that good.
You hoped and prayed for an interesting situation, and it just was not forthcoming.
Well, now if a caution comes out in about 7 laps, it'll be interesting.
And Williams just sneaks out in front of the pace car. He's cutting it closer and closer and get as much repairs as he can. He was about 5 or 6 feet away from being put a lap down. We're going to look at the replay. He cut that ever so close.
He needs to pay his pit crew more because they don't seem to be doing much.
There's only so many times you can hit it with a hammer, you know.
That is one. It looks like he's been racing at the Lady in Black.
Oh, we saw a race in Darlington around here, and David Williams had the infamous moment of having an accident under caution.
Yeah, it can happen to him.
Well, pace lights are out. We've got 64 laps to go now. We are getting ready to go green. Joe Nathan's going to lead the way once more. Mark Walls in second. Ryan Barnes sitting in third. And Bob Beltrami on the outside of the second row. Pace car peels off. Joe Nathan gets on the loud pedal. And we are racing once again here at Homestead Miami Speedway.
I've seen this movie before where Nathan leads Walls into 1 and 2. Let's see what Walls can do in 3 and 4. Nathan's got a great jump.
He did not wait around. As soon as that pace car peeled off, he was on the gas. He knew that he couldn't wait. And a little bit behind these guys, we got a battle for 5th place. That's Rob Gall and Drew Lalonde. Gall comes out on top of that one. Now Walls has closed the gap into 1 and 2. Closes it yet more. Riding that low line, he's going to try and get it down the backstretch. He's not even going to wait into turn 3. Walls has the legs on Joe Nathan today. He's going to do it one more time, and Mark Walls into the lead. Now, what can Brian Barnes do on Nathan? He is closed up on the back of him as well. Don't forget, Kalisto has that fresh car. No damage. Probably has fresh tires too, topped up on fuel. He has got his car back up into 9th. Question is, can he get it back up towards the lead? He's going to need to if he wants the championship. Williams into 14th. I don't know what the math is going to be, but as 14th position, I'm guessing that Kalisto is going to have to win the race to try and take it.
Plenty of time. 60 laps to go. Little train with a brand new, fresh Coca-Cola car. We're okay.
He's got a brand new car, but oh, we got a spinner out of 4 rather. Who was that?
Drew Lalonde, maybe? Was he slow?
Gonna go, and it was Drew Lalonde managing to gather it together. That was coming out of 4. Whew, actually, a very good job holding it together. We saw it on replay, and that demotes him down to 9th. Gives Lionel Kalisto one more. He's up to 8th now. Now, as we watch Gall battling with Bob Beltrami, even if Kalisto has a brand new car, he has to catch and pass Mark Walls, who's just been on rails this whole race. Kalisto in his Fanatec machine has closed up on the back of Chris Beck. Could get another position here. Walls starting to stretch away. He's already got half a second over Nathan. Now, what is that magic lap number that these guys can pit and get enough fuel to make it to the end?
They're coming right up on it with 57 to go. I'd say the window is open here tentatively, but with about 3 laps, I know that these guys will be safe 100% on fuel.
With this being tire limited, I can't see anybody trying to make that strategy call. Haven't had enough cautions to really merit it. However, Joe Nathan has found a bit of speed and is now closed up on the back of Mark Walls. Where did Nathan find this bit of pace? He was looking to the inside.
I want to watch that again, but I think he may be running where no man has run before throughout the most part of the race. He is going all the way down to the white line at the lowest banking on this track has to offer. And he's finding grip down there.
They've had 212 laps to put heat and rubber down onto this track. Joe Nathan starting to experiment and finding it's working on the low line. Now, going that low with no banking down there, is that going to wear out his tires quicker, though?
Potentially, but you've got grip. On a slick track, you find grip, you run with it. You'll deal with the consequences later.
Now, interestingly, Chris Pence is the first car a lap down, which means he might get the lucky dog if we get another caution. But he's going to have to do a lot of work to get himself into a championship position. Because remember, all David Williams has to do is finish 23rd or higher for Pence. Boy, both those top cars really running the low line now. But unfortunately for Joe Nathan, as much grip is down there, he can't seem to carry the speed through to try and get past the number 18 Walls Beardco machine. Drops back a little bit, heading through 3 and 4. Where is Kalisto? Kalisto is now up into 7th.
And about just behind Hasebeck.
Looking at P6 potentially ahead of them. There's a side-by-side battle between Beltrami and Gall, which now peters out as soon as I mention it.
Nevertheless, a great run by Bob Beltrami.
Absolutely. We were worried about his pace earlier on, but he's come back with a vengeance. He's currently in a top 5 position. And I think that Kalisto is gaining on Hasebeck. He has strolled up to the back of that number 13. We ride on board with Kalisto now. Hasn't given up on this championship yet. Williams is still sitting in 14th, and he's 3 seconds behind Carl Berg, the next car up to solidify his championship. And from on board, we can see the battle between Gall and Beltrami is not over as Gall goes way high, and Beltrami just shoots by on the inside. Doesn't get a good run off the corner, though, because here comes Gall back on him. But elects not to try and send it into 3.
Look at this.
And there goes Hasebeck. All slipping backwards. "49 laps to go now. Kalisto has the inside of Gall. Can he carry the speed off of the corner? Not quite. Continues to try to work that inside line. Here goes Kalisto. He could have it this time. Once more, Gall making the top line work, keeping the momentum up and denying Kalisto that 6th position. Kalisto sends it in deep from a little bit closer, and now he's finally got him. So Kalisto now up into P6.
I got a hunch, the way I'm looking at Kalisto race, I think he's really sawing on the wheel. Boy, it looks like that car is so close to getting out from under him.
He's already lost it multiple times and even put it in the wall once. He's got to hold it together. As much as he wants to get up to the front, he can't lose control of the car again. And this battle for between these 5 cars is extremely close. He rocks back up on the back of Hasebeck once more. It's almost like he's following him through instead of challenging him. Next on the line for Hasebeck is Bob Beltrami, sitting in 4th. And then it's a long ways up ahead of Beltrami to get to Brian Barnes, who is in third and actually very close to Nathan.
Brian, this is almost like a game of chicken. How long can you go before you come in for tires? And when you do come in for tires, how long can the other guys stay out? You know, that's 45 laps. It's getting close. Maybe 10 laps from now might be my call.
It's going to be, you're probably going to end up seeing is these guys splitting it right down the middle. We've got 46 laps to go. These guys have been on their tires for 23 laps already. So you meet in the middle, that would put you to 33, 34 to go.
Yeah.
But every lap you stay out means that that's just one more lap with good tires at the end of the race. So there's kind of a lot of things running through your head at this point in the race with 44 to go now.
And Brian Barnes, as we continue to watch Callisto actually now work on P5. Let's stay with this. I was going to say Barnes was making a move, but he backs out of it. So let's stay with Callisto. Made an attempt on the number 13, but now the number 84 has really got it and powers on through.
Muscle.
Lionel Callisto in the top 5 now. Right now we've got 22 cars on track, so David Williams is still safe if he wrecks his car. We'll only be down to 22nd, but only just at least over Chris Pence. We don't know what the situation would be with Lionel Callisto in that position. And honestly, the way that Callisto is driving, he is a man possessed. He knows that this championship is on the line. He's picking off car after car with less than 50 laps to go in this 400-mile race.
Yeah, Brian Bennett is running back out. Matt Gelder, Gary LaViolette. These guys are 69, 65. One's 84. LaViolette's 84 laps down. Good for him.
And actually, now that you say that, with them being that many laps down, the only he's only going to go to 19th position, which would be Michael Lane 11 laps down. Because right now,
that's right,
20th position cannot overtake him. Brian Bennett at 59 laps down will not be able to overtake our leader. So that mathematically eliminates Chris Pence from this championship. It is down to 2.
Well, Williams could get disqualified if he drove backwards or something, so I guess that's always a possibility.
But if he's disqualified, does it send him all the way to the back, or is it laps completed?
I believe it puts you at the end of the lap you completed.
So yeah, even if he gets disqualified, he's not going to go down positions. So Callisto, who was moving forward, now has Drew Lalonde on the back of him, as having to race the mirror as well as over the hood. We've jumped up. Oh, no, I'm sorry, we are on 5th now. For a brief moment, we were on 2nd place. Brian Barnes has been continuing to hassle Nathan. Oh, and Nathan into the pits.
Here we go.
As well as Walls. I think he saw Walls coming in, and he followed him in.
Now this is interesting, because... Whoa!
Whoa! The number 20 machine almost getting into the back of the 18, braking for the pit lane. Manages to keep it out of him, though.
Now it's math time. How much fuel, how little fuel can I take to go 38 laps? How much fuel do I have in my tank now? How much more do I need to add?
Barnes heads in. Beltrami stays out. Callisto heads in.
It's dinner time. That's apparently what has happened.
Oh, but Callisto almost spins it, pulls it together, gets sideways, braking for the pit entry. And Walls somehow manages to get a fantastic lead out of the pit.
It's all about fuel.
If they have crew chiefs, they are probably working furiously on the numbers.
Now, the way that the fuel gets delivered into these cars, you're not waiting on fuel, at least in the game simulation. You're really waiting on the left side tires.
A-Spec stays out. He's currently our leader. Gruber stays out as well. Hutchison stays out.
So you're saying then, Brian, that Mark Wall's invisible guys were faster than Joe Nathan's invisible guys?
Well, when it's that way, yes, that's exactly what.
Okay.
From the pit times that I'm able to see, it was a 13 flat for Mark Walls to a 13.6 for Joe Nathan.
And guys, critically, Lionel Kalisto got jumped by Drew Lalonde. He came out of the pits ahead of him. Oh, we were on board and saw Nathan clattering into the wall.
Yeah, that was, he ran out of, he was going for everything there. I don't think he hit it too hard. I don't even see the side of the car scraped up at all, but this late in the run, you've been out there for 200 and some odd laps. At this point, just go for it.
And he's got no championship on the line. So at this point for Joe Nathan, it's I'm either going to win this race or die trying.
Well, and now more importantly, he's unlapped himself. So if there's another caution, he doesn't have to worry about being trapped a lap down.
How about a shout out to Alan Hatebeck now in the way? That's what the broadcast networks like to get all excited about those guys. We know they have to pit, but Hatebeck out in front. Scott Gruber in second.
And Kalisto is rocked up on the back of Drew Lalonde. Kalisto currently scored an 8th, but waiting for other cars to come in for their stops. He is, he gets a little bit loose. They're going to get held up by the number 80 or 68 of Gary LaViolette. Lets them on through, and it's back on. They're unlapping themselves now, and it's a 3-wide situation with Kalisto managing to work his way past Drew Lalonde, or maybe not. They're still side by side.
Guys, from a championship standpoint, David Williams is running 16th.
Now, has he taken his last stop?
He has. Yes, he's made his last pit stop. You know, if the white elephant in the room rears its ugly head, he's got himself in a very precarious position right now.
But he's also waiting for other guys to come in and make their final stops. But you're right, if a caution were to come out right now, this would absolutely ruin it for David Williams.
Because more importantly, Lionel Kalisto, I don't know why I keep wanting to say Castro, is back onto the lead lap.
And past Drew Lalonde finally. Now, Walls is effectively going to be our leader once all the pit cycles through. Joe Nathan is still holding on to second place despite having a meeting with the wall, but he's got Brian Barnes only 3/10 behind him, that number 4 Pepsi machine, not giving up. Now we had a couple more people come in, so Wayne Hutchison has inherited the lead, and he's the last one yet to stop. Ooh, Barnes with a huge moment, and that's going to send him back a little bit farther, so he's not looking at P2 now.
Wayne Hutchison has a 12-second lead on Waltz. Stay out there, Wayne. Hope for rain.
And Barnes is struggling. Almost loses it once again. He's down to 6. What is going on with Barnes' machine?
I really don't have a solid answer for that.
In fact, he's been overtaken by Kalisto and Drew Lalonde, who swap positions once again. Kalisto around the outside of 3 and 4, trying to carry the speed. They're still going to be side by side as they hit turn 1. Now, have cycled through for Williams, and he's up into 14th, but still waiting on Wayne Hutchison, who is staying out.
Going again. Attaboy.
And Hutchison is going to have very fresh tires at the end. It's 27 laps to go here.
He might have very fresh tires in him, but he's a 1.7 seconds slower a lap. So, unless he drives absolute mad out, rim riding, take no prisoners, uh, there's no way that he's going to be any kind of a threat for the end of this one, unless
He's banking on that alternate on the caution, I think.
well, unless by some magical stroke of luck he's saving fuel. But
now we've got some more information about Lionel Colisto in terms of this championship. For him to win it, win all of it, the Drivers' Championship, he has to win at this point because it's going to get him a 5-point bonus.
Oh, Bonus is his middle name. Lionel Bonus Calisto.
I thought it was Little Train.
That's his nickname. His real middle name on his birth certificate is Bonus.
He's up to P4.
And actually, it's P3 when you take Hutchinson off of that. Hutchinson.
Yeah.
and guys, he's faster by about 0.2 a lap.
Hutchison is caught in a gaggle of cars, though, and we've got a car into the wall. Who was that? Trying to make it out.
Spinner right now is... Spinner, if I
Caution.
can get it, is Scott Gruber. Oh, Gruber's collected.
And who was that hit him?
Gelder, Matt Gelder. Okay, 21st. And that's what Hutchinson wanted.
I was going to say, I figured that's why he was staying out. We're watching Gruber, and what kicked this off? It looks like it started to spin coming out of turn 4. Couldn't collect it together. Did he hit anything, though? No, he didn't hit anything except for Gelder hitting him. We're going to watch it from onboard Gelder. He took to the low side, thought he could avoid him, but fortunately just was not space there.
Now, you're watching the replay. Here comes Hutchison right now. I'm not even sure if the pits were open yet. Oh, yes, they are. So
Now.
this is perfect. It's Wayne's World now, baby. Come on in. You were in front.
Excellent. Party
Yeah.
time.
And here comes David Williams into the pits in 12th at the moment. That's 2 more cars that were eliminated. Were they in front of Williams? Is this going to solidify him?
It may have done it. I'm not 100%, but it may have done it.
Now, also interesting, I see that Michael Smith has stayed out and currently scored as our leader.
Why not? Go ahead, Smitty.
Joe Nathan is the first out of the pits, though, ahead of Mark Wall. We see that. What is Joe Nathan doing that Mark Walls is not doing in pit lane? Every single time.
Yeah, every time. Hutchison comes out in 3rd. He came in as the leader.
Not able to capitalize on that alternate strategy. Still, it's put him in a very good position. Smitty comes on in, so that's going to promote Nathan up into the lead now. And Williams is back out on track. He is in 13th. Is he going to come into the pits once more? No, he decides to stay out. I guess he's finally got all that damage fixed. Now, the great thing for Kalisto is he's sitting in P4, and I believe he went in and got fresh fuel and tires. So
Everybody did, right?
So he is now on the same strategy as these guys. So it's all going to be down to what can he do? Can he get into P1? Mark Walls and Joe Nathan are not going to be interested in relinquishing that. They have nothing to lose in trying to get the win, other than, of course, not making friends with Kalisto.
All right, Williams in 12th, but it's brand spanking new machine.
Well, not brand spanking new, but
Well, I think he might have got it. Well, I don't know. It's looked better than it's had for the last hour, so maybe
I think he used it up early on, didn't he?
Well, I'm thinking not. There's no way he would have been driving unless all of a sudden this crew got talented, because that car looks beautiful now.
So it sounds like could be right here. What a call by Williams. Why did he hold on to it so long?
Because that's what Marines do, baby.
Now, are the lights going to go off this time by? It looks like they are, so I was going to say we don't have time to talk to Smitty. We've only talked to him once. We've been so caught up in this championship hunt, we forgot to talk to our in-race reporter. If we get another caution, we'll try and remember next time to see how it's going from inside his cockpit. He is in 15th and actually on the lead lap.
Yeah, he even stayed out to have the lead a lap there for a while. We couldn't talk to him. Sorry, Smitty.
So, once more, we've seen this story time and time again. Joe Nathan is going to lead the restart. Mark Walls will be on the outside. This time, though, Wayne Hutchison, driver we're not used to seeing in this position in P3 on the restart. Let's see what he can do. On the outside, though, championship hopeful Lionel Kalisto has to take the win. It's all or nothing for the number 84 machine. We ride on board, looking out back from Joe Nathan's car. Pace car getting ready to peel off. There he goes. And Nathan waited a little longer this time, keeping them on their toes, and it worked. He stretches out ahead of Mark Walls, but we've seen before that doesn't do a whole lot. Lionel Kalisto looking around the outside of Hutchison, and Kalisto into third. Now, what happened to Williams? Williams is slipping backwards. Williams had a terrible start, and he is down to the 15th. He's got more cars on the lead lap now. He's the last car on the lead lap.
Yeah, he's got work to do. Pence and Paulison are ahead of him, and they're not slouches today.
Oh, this is getting ever tighter in the championship. Kalisto not waiting around as he is rocked up to the rear spoiler of Mark Walls. And Walls is a huge
Careful, Lionel!
He just
He
putting
saved it.
through.
Walls is into trouble.
Walls is around. Caution is out, but Kalisto
He got
managed
clipped
to
a little
hold
bit.
onto it. Oh my goodness! The slightest of contact, and Barnes managed to sneak by him. So Kalisto's back down to third. Did he touch the suspension? How is Kalisto's car?
I think Kalisto's car is fine. I think Walls hit him right between the 8 and the 4 on the
But
right side.
Kalisto is heading into the pits. A number of other cars are. Barnes is staying out. So is Joe Nathan.
Well, I mean, if you're Kalisto, damage or not, you've got an opportunity here with fresh tires and pretty much everybody behind you going for it, and everybody behind you coming onto pit road. You've got a championship that really the only way that you know you can win it is to go out and win the race. So this is a brilliant strategy call, I think, from Lionel.
Now what confuses me is David Williams is coming in. I would have thought that with this being so close to the end, 17 laps to go now, Williams could have pulled a move where he just stays out, gets himself farther up, and just solidifies his chance to finish within the top 13. But now he's going to have to try and fight with these other guys that clearly have been a little bit faster than him. Oof.
Boy, I took a long look at that Kalisto incident. It's hard to say how hard he got hit.
Now, Pence is back on the lead lap, and he's still got a chance, we're understanding. I thought that he was out of it, but things apparently have changed in the point situation. Pence would need to win the race and have Williams be in 15th for Pence to be able to take the championship.
Interestingly enough, we now have 16 cars on the lead lap if Nick Hunt, depending on where he is in all of this.
Nick Hunt is on the lead lap. He is in 16th.
Oh man, if you're David Williams, you got a bottle of Tums right next to the the steering wheel.
See, I don't know. Maybe I'm just too much of a gambler. I don't know ovals enough, but I feel like David Williams should have stayed out.
It depends on how everything shakes out with the car. I mean, David Williams. I think he's not made a big threat at all in this race. I think
Right.
we've barely seen him into the top 10. If he would have stayed out, that would have put him restarting fourth. And if you have a slower car, all you're going to do is find yourself in the way, especially when you've got some of these guys coming off of pit road. And by the way, shout out to Smitty, P6, after everything he's gone through tonight. P6.
That is just par for the course for his season on these oval races. Now, we said we were going to talk to him, and I think we got a little bit of time, so why don't we send Bill over to see if he's got just a bit of a moment to tell us about how he managed to work his way up.
Hang on, boys. I can't find him. Where is he?
Never mind. It's getting to be.
Okay.
I'm sorry, Bill. They're lining up. It's too late. Next time, Bill, just pop
not-
yourself. He's in live booth 2.
Okay, we're not done with yellows. We're not done with yellows.
All right. Just next time, pop yourself down in there and ask him and make sure he's ready, because we don't want to surprise him like last time. All right. Yet again, Joe Nathan gonna lead the way. This time he's got Brian Barnes outside of him, so he's not going to be under threat from Mark Walls, which has been the case for most of this race. What can Brian Barnes do? Barnes and Nathan have been in the hunt for the win this entire race, it seems. Chris Beck starting in third. We haven't talked a whole lot about him having a potential to win, but he's sitting in a good position. Bob Beltrami in fourth, and Callisto slipped back to fifth after that almost being taken out by Walls, and then through pit stops, losing a couple spots there.
I don't know what's going to happen here, guys. We got 15 laps left. Coming to the green flag. Callisto has fresh tires, has nothing to lose. This is going to be a heck of a race. I'm so glad that I'm here to watch this, because I know this is going to get good.
And remember, Callisto has to win to take the championship. Pace car is off. Joe Nathan accelerates away, gets a good jump on Brian Barnes. Callisto was really on it and all over the back of Beck, but had nowhere to go. He is going to give one spot over Beltrami, so Callisto up into fourth.
Williams back to 15th.
Williams with a terrible start. But he is managing to hold off Jason Pitts behind him, although, Pitts is many laps down, so he is not in this hunt. He's a ways back as well.
Here comes Callisto going for
Wow.
third place through turns 1 and 2, sorry. Trying to clear caution
caution.
out. Oh, Smitty.
Oh, we missed our chance
Yep.
to talk to him. Now, did he hit anything?
I don't think he hit anything. I think we can still talk to him here.
Oh, yes, he did. Yes, he did. He got the outside wall, but it was very light. Nobody else got into him, it looks like. Let's give him a chance to get into the pits first, and then we'll talk to him. And he's still on the lead lap. So our order up front after that, what was it, a lap and a quarter that we had under green? Nathan leads. Barnes is in second. Callisto in third. Chris Beck in fourth. Beltrami down to fifth.
It looked like Joe Nathan was trying to fake some guys out coming in there. Because, he got right to that point where you could still split it. It went right to the left and then cut it to the right to go around the grass.
Okay, Williams up now to 14th because he got around Michael Smith, who's going to be coming into the pits. David Williams has nothing left in that machine. It's just, he's the slowest of the 15 cars on the lead lap right now. Actually, now it's going to be one more car coming. Nope, because the next car lap down is Pitts, and he's 4 laps down. So it'll be a while before Pitts gets on the lead lap.
Smitty getting fresh tires, probably getting a little bit of that damage repaired.
We'll talk to him as soon as he comes out on the track. Get that.
Wondering if he's going to be held in there all the way until the pace car comes around. Not sure how much damage he got from that. It looks like it was just a couple light taps, so I wouldn't think that he'd have too much. He's still held stationary, though.
It's important that he gets out on the lead lap here, at least for David Williams.
Even there he goes. Now he's heading out. That puts him down into 16th place. So, Bill, if you want to hop down into the other booth, ask if he'd be up to talk here. Joe Nathan, as we said, going to be our leader. Barnes in second. Kalisto has worked his way up into third. That championship is tantalizingly close. What's the word, Bill?
We got Michael Smith with us. He's not happy, though. He's happy to talk with us. He's not happy with what's going on. Smitty, you got it up to 6. What happened, man?
I just blew it. I'll tell you what, I'm not sure who that was. I think it might have been Lalonde that threw it in there on turn 3, and I just got up in the bad stuff there. And I think I just got too much stuff on the tires, etc. And when I went down into 1, it wasn't looking good for me grip-wise. But man, I'll tell you what an eventful race. Being in the thick of things, and then having a little bit of a penalty. We've been fighting back the entire time. I'm just stoked to be on the lead lap right now, honestly.
The lights are still on. Let me get in one quick question. How's the track feel? Is it changing?
Yeah, I'd say it's changing. It's a little bit tough though. I've got some damage still, regardless from what we just did there. So I feel like my car's a little bit tighter than it was earlier. I actually made a quick adjustment at the beginning of the race and haven't touched it since. I just changed the line a little bit. If it is changing much, I'm not seeing much of it. I'm not sure about the rest of the guys.
All right, well, you're at the back of the lead lap. Go get him, baby.
Hey, I appreciate it. We'll see if we can do it without wrecking this time.
All right.
That was Michael Smith, our in-race reporter here today at Homestead Miami Speedway for the season finale for the 2015 Pacific Majors. And right now, it looks like David Williams might still have the championship, but it is oh so close. He is in 14th. Kalisto is in 3rd, and he has to win to take it home. They're getting side by side. We have 9 laps to go now. Can we stay green to the finish? Can Kalisto take 2 positions?
Food for thought. If we get a caution underneath 4 laps to go, that's pretty much going to do it.
The good news quickly is for Kalisto is he doesn't have Waltz to mess with anymore. He might be faster than those 2 guys ahead of him.
He is going to have to be on it. At this point, with only 9 laps left to worry about, there is only the lead. There is nothing else for Lionel Kalisto. Pace car peels off. Joe Nathan leads them away, checks up just a little bit, then accelerates away, keeps Lionel Kalisto on his toes. Kalisto tries to get to the inside of Barnes. He knows this is critical. He's got a nose in through 1 and 2.
Williams got tagged. He saved it.
Oh, got bigger problems in the back.
That's who tagged Williams. It's Smitty. Upside down is
And
Mark
Williams
Waltz.
gets through it.
But he was part of it.
And it looks like Walls self-spun, actually. Just went sideways on his own, got hit by Steve Paulison, and then poor Smitty up to the outside with absolutely nowhere to go. I think that might be Smitty's day over, even.
It's too bad. Behind all of that, and probably what saved David Williams from total disaster, was he got tagged and lost all of his momentum. He dropped 300 yards behind that accident.
Just a little bit of luck on David Williams' side here at the end, and that is going to put him up more positions because those were many cars were ahead of him on track.
actually, you don't want to be on board with Williams. Just a normal lap will probably be best.
That was Nick Hunt that got into him. And you're right, he would have been right about where Michael Smith was. And we saw what happened to Smitty. Whew. Four-leaf clovers and all kinds of horseshoes are probably dotting the inside of that car. So sounds like Smitty's day is in fact over. He's letting us know that his day is done. In fact, I think he's already joined us in the booth here. Bill, do you want to talk to Smitty one last time here?
Yeah. Hey, long time no talk, Smitty. How you doing?
Oh, how you doing?
Well, that was. Did you have a good?
I tell you what, man. I barely missed David there, and then I got nowhere to go, and the 18's coming up the track, and boom.
Yeah, I had a good view of it right in front of you. What you gonna do?
Yeah, man, it's not the way I want to do the end of the year. I feel like a couple of the guys who finished the actual Homestead race. No spoilers, just in case somebody hasn't watched it, but yeah, it was rough.
You know,
Well,
I have a feeling that Smitty's not going to be doing any more in-race reporting for us anymore because every time we talk to him, something bad happens.
Well, I don't think it can get too much worse unless his computer sets on fire after this one. But,
Commentators
I appreciate
curse.
that, Joe. Thank you very much.
I was going to say one thing that you can take out of this, so Smitty, is you're still one of the few, actually one of only two drivers who's won twice this season. So you still have done a phenomenal job in 2015. Like you said, it's sad to see you go out this way, but your performance in this specific majors is second to none. You did a fantastic job up till that unfortunate end.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I'll tell you what, it would have been interesting to see what could have been had I not had that penalty, because we were second. I mean, things were looking real good for us, and it just didn't go our way.
Well, commiserations, and hopefully we'll get to see you next year.
I'll be around, of course. I'll be in the booth with you guys, I think, tomorrow.
Absolutely. Looking forward to the Autobahn race. That was Michael Smith, who right now is scored in 16th and will not be able to improve, unfortunately, after a DNF today. So, the lights are still on the pace car, so we still got one more lap to go. And from there, it's going to be a 4-lap shootout.
Let's put the camera on Steve Paulison. Now you're going to wonder why would we even want to look at Steve Paulison? He's in the pits right now. He is in 14th position. I don't think he's coming back out. That means there's going to be 13 cars. In fact, Paulison just went a lap down. That means that David Williams is the last car on the lead lap in 13th.
And Jason Pitts, who is in pit lane as well, is currently 2 laps down. So is Pitts going to come out? If Pitts is 2 laps down, when it hits 2 laps to go, Williams has sealed the championship if he stays in 13th. Actually, no, he's in 12th now, with Nick Hunt behind him. Excuse me, I was a little bit behind on my replay. Pitts is out. All right, lights are out on the pace car. Nathan going to lead the way. Boy, I'm sure Nathan would like us to be paying attention to him as much as we've been paying attention to this championship here at the end, but we have to give credit to the overall picture. Still, Joe Nathan could take home a win. I think, will this actually be his second? Didn't he get a win at Darlington?
I think you might be right there.
Pace car peels off. Nathan accelerates away. Brian Barnes not able to hold on to him. Lionel Kalisto also not with a good run, still stays in third. He's going to try for that inside line. That's been working really well through 1 and 2 on restarts. He's going to have a nose in, but not the momentum off the corner. Williams has been demoted to 13th. He let Nick Hunt through. 3 laps to go.
Really no incentive for him to race there at that point. He could almost, with 2 laps to go, he could almost park it on pit road and uncork the champagne.
And I think this is it. With 2 laps to go, we got a spin in front of him.
Oh, we're going to have a caution.
And that is Bob Beltrami over on his lid. That's the championship. Williams is your 2015 champion. We're going to look at the replay of Beltrami. What happened here? Beltrami starts to lose it, almost holds it together, then gets tipped by Hasebeck and spun around into the wall over and over. We're watching from on board. Quite a ride, that virtual number 13 car. Excuse me, number 14, I believe.
I think it had one number knocked off after that.
Oh, what could have been for Kalisto. But credit to Joe Nathan. We're on the last lap. White flag is out as he comes around to the line. And checkers are out. Joe Nathan is going to win here today. Homestead Miami Speedway, third driver to win 2 races, but the championship goes to David Williams with a 12th place, just eking by for the championship. And he pulls over immediately. We're ready to get out of this oval car. He knows that it's not his strength. Oh, but he's going to do some donuts for us. What a finish to the season. Down to the wire. Separated by a position or 2. I'd love to see what the points wind up after that as we watch Williams do some celebration up into the wall, unfortunately.
You know, ovals are not his forte, but he did what he needed to do. He gave it everything he had to get it done.
And not just a 3-point turn. He's here he goes. He's going to try and burn it out into the wall, light him up.
The two-dimensional fans are standing for this one.
Unfortunately, we can't see the smoke. All right, with that sealed up, we're going to go to break. We didn't take a single break this entire 400-mile race, but now we are. We're going to have upcoming races showing on our screen, but after that, we have the unofficial results as well as driver interviews, so stick around. Welcome back to Homestead Miami Speedway. We just watched the last round in the 2015 Pacific Majors, and Joe Nathan wins this last round. Brian Barnes comes home second, unfortunately finishing under caution. Lionel Kalisto rounds out the podium, just missed his chance to try and snatch the championship away from David Williams. Drew Lalonde comes home in fourth. In fifth, it was Chris Beck, a great run from him. And then in sixth, we had Rob Gall. Alan Hayesback comes home in seventh, followed by Chris Pence in eighth, another championship contender. Fortunately, could not get up to the lead to try and take it away as well. Then Carl Burke in ninth and Nick Hunt in 10th, Bill.
Wayne Hutchison in 11th position. Our series champion, David Williams, needed to finish inside 13th. He did it in 12th. Bob Ring the Beltrami in 13th position. Jason Pitts, 14th. Stephen Paulison, 15th. Michael Smitty Smith, we've heard a lot about him, 16th. Followed by Mark Waltz, probably the fastest car out here today. Had some trouble though, couldn't bring it home. 18th position, Michael Lane, followed by Scott Gruber. And rounding out the top 20, Brian Bennett. Brian?
21st goes to Gary Lavalette. I'm probably mispronouncing that, but we're going to go with that. Followed up in 22nd by Matt Gilder. 23rd goes to Ryan Toma. 24th goes to Taft Baldwin, which is really unfortunate. Had a really strong car throughout most of the race. 25th goes to Gary Nichols, followed by Trent Drismond in 26th. 27th goes to Sam Boren. 28th, Kyle Murphy. 29th, Michael Dow. And shotgun on the field, Chad Barker, finishing 30th.
We also need to mention that we have our Sentinel Shepherd's Hard Charger Award, and the winner of that today, Alan Hayesback, started 28th, finished in 7th, 21 positions gained in a 30-car field. That is impressive. So your Sentinel Shepherd's Hard Charger of the day is going to go to Alan Hayesback in the number 13 machine. Now, first up, we have our race winner, Joe Nathan, with us. We're going to pull him into the booth. And Bill, I believe you have some questions for him.
Joe, congratulations on the win. I think really we got to talk about restarts. You got fooled once, and boy, after that, you were awesome.
Fooled? When? When was I not in the lead on those restarts? Man, I got to give it up. A pit crew, they were outstanding because it seemed like every time I came in like third place, I would come out first. So I was able to control as many of the restarts as I wished, and that was a big advantage.
Yeah, now we're going to start calling you Captain Kirk because we noticed out there you were going on the track where no man had gone before to boldly go there. Did the track change? Because we saw you dipping really low sometimes to get some grip.
Well, I mean, from all these iRacing official races, the track doesn't change as much as this one did because it started from like zero. My car felt amazing in the beginning, but it just got so tight and it got tighter and tighter and tighter, so I had to go where no one's been, and even then it was still a mess until I finally made the changes necessary. So yeah, I had to go where no one was because the track was, I guess it was really, really hot everywhere I went. Didn't work except for way down there.
Now maybe you can help us out here a little bit. We were wondering, Joe was thinking that you have a win earlier, so is this your second win this season?
No, at Darlington I finished second, and that's the only Pack Majors race I've participated in, so 1 for 2.
All right, well, there you go. 1 for 2. Batting 500. You do that next season, you got yourself a championship, buddy. Congratulations on your first win in your second race, and hopefully we'll see you next year.
Yeah, can I give a shout out real quick to my team? I got to give Blown Gasket Racing a shout out here. My team did an awesome job. It was a great setup, and they did a great job supporting me, of course. None of them could really give any more support to me. They did an awesome, fantastic job. And of course the spotter, Carolina SimWorks, to do a great job with their sim racing products. And of course, real quick, thank you to my buddy Manuel in Mexico. He wanted me to give a shout out if I ever made it back here again, and here I am.
Got it. Joe Nathan, graduate of the Michael Waltrip School of Racing. Back to you, Joe.
All right. Was our winner for today. We do have our second place finisher in the booth. I'm going to check with our director, see if, yeah, all right, cool. We can bring him in. So let's bring in second place finisher Brian Barnes and talk to him about how his race went. Brian, you were up there for most of the way fighting. If it wasn't with Joe Nathan, you were duking it out with Mark Walls. But it seems like every time you got up into second, something kept you away from that lead. What do you think was keeping you from tipping it over up into P1?
Good question. I don't know. I had a good car, the thing like the Highline, but it was a little too loose to run down low.
Yeah, you definitely seem to like it up there. At the end, there was a lot of cautions going out. Did you think that you had anything for Nathan to try and take that win away if it had stayed green?
No, not if it stayed green. He had a pretty good car, even on the long run. So Drew was the one I was worried about on the long run. He had seemed like the best long run car, but I had a good all around car. Really, really pleased with it. Really, really happy with the way the season went for me this year, and really enjoyed the entire season. Can't wait for next one.
Excellent stuff. We loved seeing you last season. We like seeing you this season. Look forward to seeing you once more again. That was Brian Barnes, our second place finisher today in the number 4 at Pepsi Machine out there at Homestead. So we have one more person to talk to, two, I guess, really, because we've got Mike Willett, the series organizer, sitting in there, and I'm assuming that he's going to want to hand the trophy over to who we think is our championship winner. So let's pull both Mike Willett and David Williams in here. And Mike, first up, let's talk to you. Have you tallied the points yet?
We have indeed.
And do you have a winner to announce?
We do. So, David, you're in here. Congratulations. 724 points. 9 points clear of Lionel Callisto at 715. Those last few cautions gave you just the cushion that you needed. Brian Barnes ties Chris Pence for third with 707. Rob Gall comes in fifth alone at 703, and Alan Hesbeck in sixth at 702.
Very close up at the top. I have to commend you, Mike, on bringing in these other clubs, because it kept things very interesting, and the talent was phenomenal all throughout the season. We saw fantastic racing at every single venue we went to. Now, let's talk to our championship winner, Drivers' Champion. David Williams is in here with Brian Yazik to ask him a few questions.
Well, first of all, how does it feel to be a champion, David?
Oh, it feels awesome. After, 10 months of working for this championship, I think it's been. I think we started this in February. I think that's when Mike had the first race on the schedule, if I remember correctly. So, yeah, overcoming my first race struggles and coming back to be the champion is awesome. Yeah, it feels really good.
Now, it was very, very hotly debated up in the booth, but number one, did you use your quick repair? And number two, if you did, when?
Yeah, we did use it. First off, I got to give a shout out to Benjamin Lindsay, who was up on the box for me. Man, having his oval experience up there is what put me where I needed to be today. So back to your question about the fast repair, he called me perfectly, watching the pace car and banging out fenders and stuff throughout the race, and we saved it to the last last green flag pit stop. We figured we had a really good long run car. We kind of set it up that way. So if we could, hit it around lap 230-ish and use our fast repair, that we might be looking good to maybe sneak one out of here with a win. But all those cautions started coming. That really went away on us. But yeah, we did use it.
All right, so that settles that. Bill, you owe me dollars. Really, when it came down to that last restart, you were in trouble when you got contact, and I'm sure that the thought that was running through your head was, "Oh no," but that contact actually saved you from getting involved in the bigger wreck. So that seemed to be the kind of the pace of your night. So kind of really quickly, if you can summarize everything for us, kind of tell us about your 267 laps in a couple minutes.
All right, well, Ben, he helped me out this week. Ben's a great oval driver, so he helped me out during the week, so a little bit of time I did have to get the car set up. And, me not being a very good oval driver, we had to set it up where it's a little tame, but where it would stay consistent in the long run. And I don't know if you guys were watching lap times, but about 15 to 20 laps in, I was running on pace with the leaders, sometimes even faster, when I had a clean car anyway. So, it was... survive the first five laps, wait for the pressures to come up, and then try to start picking people off slowly but surely, and more importantly, keep the car out of trouble. That was priority number one, because I knew coming in here I wasn't battling for a win at this track. I was battling for a win in the championship, so I was points racing more than anything.
Sounds great. Well, hey, once again, congratulations. You've definitely earned it. Definitely get up and stretch your legs a little bit, have some champagne, and go out there and celebrate that championship. Alrighty.
Will do, Brian. Before I get out here, guys, I always got to give my Michael Waltrip speech here. I want to thank our guys at TNT Racing Team. They've helped me all season long, whether it be Formula Ones, GT3s, oval cars, Indy cars, whatever. They've really been there to help me out all season. I miss Jim not being out here with me. So he had computer trouble. I think he would have been contending as well. And thanks to our sponsors, GTR Simulators. If you go to their website, gtrsimulators.com, and put in the promo code TNT 30D5C, you will get 30% off your purchase, whatever you buy at gtrsimulators.com. And check out Allenberg Racing Schools. And as always, come by the TNT-racing.com website to check out exclusive deals and what we're doing and where we're heading.
Sounds great. Have yourself a great night and enjoy that championship, David. It's well earned.
Thank you, Brian. And thanks again, Michael, to putting everything together. And thanks to the guys in the booth. You did a great job. I'm sure you always do.
Thanks, David. That was David Williams, championship winner for 2015, finished off here today to solidify his first place in the points in the Pacific Majors. So, with that season wrapped up, it seems appropriate now to bring Mike back just for a moment, because it sounds like you have a big announcement about what next season holds in store.
You bet. We've got the 2016 schedule lined up. I know everybody's been anxiously awaiting, wanting me to announce it, and I figured it would be appropriate to do it today, not to take away from the championship that we were fighting for this season. So yeah, if you're ready, I'm ready.
All right. I think we got the graphic ready, and it's on screen right now, it sounds like.
Awesome. Okay, so January 31st, the 2016 schedule is going to kick off back at Daytona for the Rolex 2.4. Round number 2 is going to continue the Daytona swing with the Daytona 500. Round number 3, we're going to move to Sebring International for the 2 hours of Sebring. And by the way, the Rolex and the Sebring will be the first of 2 Predator races. Then, what I think everybody's really anxious for, round 4 is going to be our very first trip to the Nürburgring for the Nürburgring 2.4 hours in GT3 cars. In May, we go back to Charlotte for the Coca-Cola 600, followed up just a couple weeks later by the Indianapolis 500. And then, fingers crossed, round 7, the midway point of the season, we're going to be at Le Mans for just an awesome race. If for any reason, which there are lots of reasons, that track is not released, we will be at Watkins Glen for the basically the Salines race. And it'll be at 2.6 hours of Watkins Glen, and not a bad second choice. Round 8, we go back to Indianapolis for the Brickyard 400 in the Gen 6s. Round 9, this was asked for by a number of drivers in the series. We've got a lot of really long oval races, obviously, and people really wanted to be tested on the endurance side from a road perspective. So Spa is going to be the place. We're going to have the total 4 hours of Spa in late July. In August, we go to the Bristol Night Race with the Gen 6 cars. In early September, we will have the Oxford 250 in the super late models, which will be our first foray into heat racing. And then the season will all close out in rounds 12 and 13 with the Petit Le Mans in early October. And 2 weeks later, we will finish it off at Bathurst.
There are a few of those races that I'm very eager to see. The Ring, Bathurst, yeah, it is looking very enticing. I'm excited about this, and I hope our viewers are excited too, because next season is going to kick off on January 31st, as you saw. So it's going to come up quick. We're already into November here, so we only have about a month and a half break, and then we go back racing. Thanks for coming and talking to us, Mike. And of course, thank you so much for putting on this fantastic series.
You bet. Thank you, guys. You could do a great job.
That wraps up the season, and Bill, before I sign off, you are the one that has been with me for every single round, if I'm not mistaken. So tell me about your thoughts. How did you feel about this one as we traipsed across the world and saw lots of different cars and lots of different tracks?
I run a series. I manage a series. I swear to you, no. Oh, sorry. I turned my mic away there. I thought I was done. Nobody. I was running a series on my own. Nobody runs a better series than Mike Willett. Let me say that. What a great series, and I can't wait for some of these next races coming up. And I'm glad the Predator format is back.
Me too. I love watching those. They're fascinating to see how they unfold. So we are, in fact, going to close up for this last race of the season. We want to thank the sponsors of the Pacific Majors, Tye Kennels, Sentinel Shepherds, Dallas Mustangs, and Volt Vapes for each of their respective areas. Also, again, one more thanks to Mike Willett for organizing this league, and thanks to the software and hardware that we use for our broadcast. You can see them listed on your screen right now. Thanks to the team today, Bill, Brian, Amjed, and Dougie, and a special thank you to Sean Ambrose, who was our chat mod on YouTube. If you'd like to find out more about GSRC, you can find it at globalsimracingchannel.com, along with archive races and upcoming broadcasts. We're also on Twitter at GSR Channel, but that is going to change on December 1st. That'll switch over to GSR Broadcasting. Or excuse me, GSRC Broadcasting.
Where's it going? Wait a minute, where's it going?
GSRC Broadcasting is where it's going.
Okay.
Also, we're on Facebook at /Global Sim Racing Channel. Make sure and hit us up on social media. A special thank you to Eric Ekholm and Casey Lalonde, who both provide music for our broadcast. Their music can be found at the locations listed on screen as well. Next race, we've mentioned it, that's going to be the Daytona 2.4 Sunday, January 31st. We also have upcoming races for other series on screen, so check those out and mark them down on your calendar. But until next time, until next year for the Pacific Majors, race clean, race hard, and we'll see you on the track.